the analogy of BLM being a plane, and you're talking about what happens on U.S. soil. I use analogy because you wanted to try to make him a racist. When
I
the
have a
man literally
question. Would it be fair? Hey, buddy, would it be fair to say that we're going to ban all white Christians from entering into the country for the reason that white Christian nationalists commit the most domestic terror attacks on U.S. soil?
That's a deflection of, and of course not.
It's not a okay. So if it's not justified to do it in the context of white Christians, then why would it be justified to do it in the context of Muslims?
Because it's a whole different situation.
What's the
When
difference?
you got a needle, when you have a needle and a stack of needles, you don't really know who is who.
I
Okay,
don't
so
understand that analogy. Could you just tell me what the difference here is in between saying that we should ban all Muslims from entering into the country and
okay,
ban
when the I'll
all
give you
like
a
white
perfect example,
Christians?
Dean. I'll give you a perfect example. When the six people came in to Massachusetts that did the 911, what happened? They blended in. They were literally in the university. You can't pick a needle out of a stack of needles, so you got to stop all the needles until you figure out what is going on.
Okay,
That's
so
just
like
due
once again,
diligence.
why wouldn't it be justified for us to do the same thing in the context of like white Christians?
Okay, here, let me explain it this way. Let's say that there's a serial unaliver running around,
Why can't you
and
answer my
then
question?
and
Why are you?
someone he
Why can't
loves,
I? Do you think it's like
because you're
very
not
telling that you
understanding
can't
why
answer
he
my
did it,
question?
Dean. You're trying to paint a
No,
picture that doesn't
I
exist.
I understand what you're saying. You're saying that he banned Muslims from
You
entering
do.
into the country because
We,
Muslims were committing terror attacks in the country. But what I'm saying here is
thank
that,
you.
proportionately speaking, white Christian nationalists commit more domestic terror attacks than Muslims on U.S. soil. So why wouldn't it be justified for us to turn around and ban white Christians from entering into the country?
Because the United States has what's called a constitution, and they're here already, not coming here already. You guys were
Is there
basically
wait? So
giving
you're
them
saying
hell
that the
for
Constitution will
trying to
protect
stop.
white Christians, but the Constitution shouldn't protect Muslims?
No, no, no. You're painting up another picture that doesn't exist. They're already here. When they're
You
coming
don't think
into
that
the
there's
United
Muslims
States,
already in our country?
if you use the
You don't think
analogy,
that white Christians come into our country?
they're here already
We
on U.S.
just
soil.
just like we already have Muslims already here on U.S.
No,
soil.
but you're
There's
talking about
practicing
coming.
members of the Islam religion that exist here at home in the U.S. That's a fact. We do not exist in a Christian nation. We exist in a nation where you are free to be Christian, free to be Muslim,
You're
free to be.
deflecting, bro.
This is not a deflection.
It
What
is.
the define deflection? Define
You're
deflection.
monologuing. We're on
Define
the topic.
deflection.
You're
Define
on the topic.
deflection.
You got to Google it right there.
Define
Moving away,
deflection.
moving away to another topic to defer from your argument that is
No,
not valid.
that you want to call it a deflection so you can ignore the fact that it's absolutely destroying your argument. You're
Not
saying
at
that we should
all.
ban every single follower of the Islam religion because some members of the Islam religion have committed acts of terror on US soil. I just want to see if you're going to keep yourself logically consistent here, if we should ban all members of the Christian religion because some members of the Christian religion have committed acts of terror on US soil.
You're actually trying to compare people that are in the United States on our land already, under our constitutional protected rights, to people that haven't even got here yet. How
Yes.
can you compare the two, Dean?
Yes, because I don't think that one is deserving of persecution for the reason that some members of the religion have committed terror attacks, with the other not deserving of persecution, even though the same thing is true.
So you
Like, I think
actually
that taking
think
one group of people, generalizing them, and then saying, for the reason that some members of this religion have committed acts of terror, therefore all members of this religion should be banned from entering into the country, is incredibly prejudiced, right? What it does is it demonizes this sect of individuals that would follow this religion, and it places a blanket ban on entry into the country, which is literal religious-based discrimination, which is
not at
unjustified.
all.
And I
It
mean,
was not based
when
on
else has this?
religious. It was
When else is?
based on
What,
violence.
Nava, 1 second. When has this? When is this ideology that we should ban this group A from being near group B because we think group A is more violent than group B? When else has that logic been used? Do you want to talk about white supremacists and the Jim Crow era segregation bans instantiating the false idea that black people are more violent and aggressive than white people, and for that reason they should be segregated from entering into the quote unquote white spaces? So now you're saying that group A, right, Muslims without good reason are more violent than group B, Americans. First of all, making that distinction between Muslims and Americans is insane. Muslims can and are Americans, and then therefore you're saying that they should be segregated from the Americans. It's gross.
I'll tell you why. And I'm going to explain it real simple for you. How many? Okay, let's just say hypothetically, something's really bad is happening in your town, and a
Pivot.
Latino is climbing in your window, right? And 5 minutes the Leos have to get there. They run past the Muslims, they run past the African Americans, they run past the Asians, and they go after they go after Latinos and the Anglo. Why is that? Because how many African American serial killers do you know, Dean? None.
I don't know
How
any
many
serial
Asian serial
killers.
killers do you know, Dean? None. How many Muslim serial killers do you know, Dean? None. So it's more mathematically for the Leo to go after the person that is mathematically factual to have committed these crimes. And the same thing with you may call it stereotyping, but a cop when he's only got 5 minutes,
would we call this
he goes after them.
would we call this racial profiling?
No, I call it if the person think of the person you
So
love most.
I have a question. What's the difference between racial profiling and what you're describing?
Racial profiling is another label for cop doing their due diligence when they have limited time.
Oh my God! So you are justifying racial profiling.
If you have think of the person you love most in the world, Dean.
Oh my God!
Okay.
You're actually
like
justifying.
I said, I'm
One
gonna
second.
take-
No, let me go ahead and finish. You just
Can you
called
give me
racial
10
profiling
seconds?
intelligent due diligence of the police force.
Here, let me ask you this. Give me 10 seconds, and if you would answer it yes or no, sir, I really would appreciate it. Think of the person you love most in the world is getting on a plane. They got credible evidence that within 10 minutes, a BOMB is going to go off. You hear Leos run by. You're watching them board the plane. You can't go anywhere. You're sitting there watching them. Leos run by. You hear on the radio. They say that it's a Arab country male on the plane looks like this. They run past the Latinos. They run past the Asians. They run past the Anglos. And they actually get on that plane.
Then all of a sudden, the white
let me
man
finish.
standing
I
at
got
the
5 more
front. No,
seconds.
1 second. Then all of a sudden, the white man standing at the front of the plane steps up and blows that shit up, and then we have these racist cops running towards the back to arrest a member of a
Okay.
practicing religion.
me-
It's
when
fucking
you're a law
gross. I
enforcement
can't even believe what
officer-
you're saying. It is
when
so
you're a law
gross.
enforcement
And you know that
officer,
this type of
Dean,
profiling actually shut
you
the fuck
got
up.
to think mathematical.
Boop! You can't speak now. And it's incredible because this type of profiling actually does exist. For instance, I have a friend, her name is Lily. She is Arab. Her father is Arab. And every single time they go to the airport, her father gets pulled aside for a quote unquote random check. Every single time she and her father goes to the airport. So I just want to clarify here. Do you think that it's justified for the airport to do a quote unquote random check on her father every single time he enters into the airport?
You never answered my question, yes or no. I think I had 5 more seconds left. So when they save that person you love on
Jesus
that plane,
fucking Christ! I can't believe that we actually have people justifying literal.
would you be
persecution.
grateful, or did
One
you
second.
think the cop
Hey,
did something wrong?
Robert, thank you so much for the $3 on Venmo. So I just want to clarify. I would say
you
that the
think
cop.
that-
Yes,
you
we
think-
should be racial profiling. Of course, the cops did something wrong. So now I have a question for you.
So if
Should
it took 11
I have
minutes
a
to
question.
go
Should
through
we
all
ban?
of the
I have a
people,
question. Shut up, buddy. Should we ban?
you lost
Hey,
your loved
hey, Navajo,
one,
are you
that would be
listening to me?
better?
Are you listening to me?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll mute myself.
Yeah, so should we ban all white Christian teenagers from going on the campus of any elementary, middle, or high school for the reason being that white Christian teenagers are disproportionately more likely to commit school shootings?
You're going from one extreme to. I'm using emergency situations like you did at the beginning of this
Can you answer
topic.
my question?
When Trump bland them all, but you're deflecting
Hey,
again.
no, this isn't a deflection. Should we ban all white Christian teenagers from going on elementary, middle, and high school campuses?
All right, repeat the question.
Should we ban
Should you
all
what?
white Christian teenagers from going on elementary, middle, and high school campuses?
Okay, that's ridiculous. But go ahead.
Okay, well,
No.
if it's ridiculous to say that we should
No,
ban...
to answer your question, no. But it's
so one
it's
second. Hey, I'm talking. So if it's ridiculous to say that we should ban white Christian teenagers from going on these school campuses, even though they're disproportionately more likely to commit acts of terror on school campuses, why would you say any different for Muslims? Right? I've already tried to reduce and disprove your point that they're disproportionately more likely to commit acts of terror because they're not. White Christian nationalists are most likely to do so. But second up, if we accept that fact that they are, seemingly speaking, what's the distinction between the hypothetical I gave you and Trump's Muslim ban?
Okay. Give me 30 seconds and I'll explain it. It's an emergency situation that you're just saying blanket paint over. He said until we figure out what's going on. Now, using your scenario, let's say Leo's got credible information
No,
that a
no, no,
white
no, no.
Christian
What was
nationalist
the
is going to
emergency
go
situ?
into a
What was it? What
school,
was the
and
emergency
then they
situation in
run past the
2016?
Asian. So you're not going to let me finish. They run past the Latino. They run
Bro,
past the
I don't like
You've
this.
made the
Like,
same point 6 times.
yeah, it's fucking
because
annoying.
you brought up that scenario. So if it's an
No, I
emergency
didn't.
situation and they have 5 minutes before it goes off, then
Hey
they should
Navajo,
run
buddy.
past all
What
these
was the
people
emergency Oh, first
to
of all,
the
you
white
made this
Christian
like
nationalists.
like
And,
Law of the
and
Wild
in that
just
case,
said.
it would be justified. Yes.
Hey. So you think it would be justified to ban all white teenagers from going on school campuses?
In an emergency situation, if they got credible evidence that there's going to be a bombing in that scenario, how many
So what was the emergency
Asians
Hey,
bomb a place? Nobody.
hey. What was the emergency situation in 2016 that called for a Muslim ban?
2016, that would be the terror. I'd have to look that up, but there was something was going on, influx, credible evidence.
Abel, thank you so much for the $20 on PayPal.
What?
Let's get some
Oh.
W's in the chat for Abel. Thank you so much for the $20. Massive W's down below for Abel. I really appreciate you for that love. Thank you so much for the love, Abel. So what was it?
Congrats.
Robert, thank you for the $3 as well. And Cyber, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much, you guys.
Anyway, like I was saying,
So what was the emergency situation in 2016 that called for
I'd have
a
to
ban on
Google
all
it.
Muslims from
They
entering
were
the
getting
country?
credible evidence that something was happening, and they had to stop it. I'll Google it and get back with you. I don't know, but there was an emergency. It wasn't like he
Law of
came
the
off
Wild,
the
do
cuff
you
and
know?
said,
Yeah, it was in the wake of the San Bernardino attack, where
"That's yeah."
two Muslim people, unalived people in San Bernardino, California. Interestingly, though, while they were both Muslim, one was an American citizen and one was here legally because they were married to the American citizen. So you by blanketing an entire religion, banning a religion from entering into the country because of the actions of an American citizen and lawful resident, how does that fix anything?
Like I used the analogy earlier, sir. If you're having a wedding reception and somebody is getting unalived in there, you're going to close the doors until you figure out who's the good guys and who's the bad guys, because people are crashing your party. Same exact thing, except broaden it to a country. If you're getting crashed at your wedding reception, then and the country's getting crashed at our borders, you close it, find out what the heck is going on.
Wait, but you
and
just
then
clarified there was no
bring
crash
it
at the
back to
border.
normal again.
One was American citizen, and the other was in the country legally as they were married to the American citizen.
Yeah, hindsight is 2020, sir.
What?
Hindsight is 2020. It isn't like they showed their ID at the door.
Okay, so I just want to clarify here. If like a Christian committed an act of terror, should we ban everyone coming in from like predominantly Christian countries around the world?
That's a deflection and lunacy.
No, wasn't that
You
just
gotta
what you
remember,
just said?
this
I
is-
literally
this-
just replaced the word Muslim with Christian. How's that lunacy and a deflection?
Because how many Christians, Anglo-American Christians, are known to bomb a plane? How many serial killers are
So,
African American?
I just
None.
wanted to clarify once
How
again.
many
if a
Asians are
Christian-
serial killers? None.
If a U.S. citizen that's a Christian commits an act of terror on U.S. soil, would it be justified to turn around and ban all Christians from entering the country? And I just want to clarify, yes, white Christians are more likely to commit domestic acts of terror than Muslims.
On the U.S. soil,
Yeah.
they're already here. You're talking
once
about
again,
leaving the
I was
gates
just-
open
I was just
when
clarifying-
something's going on inside your wedding reception.
Just to
you would leave
clarify-
the door open?
Just to clarify, the U.S. citizen that was a Muslim and their spouse that was here legally were already here as well. So already being here is obviously not relevant to you thinking that the Muslim ban was justified. So just to clarify, if a Christian commits an act of terror on U.S. soil, is it justified for us
And
to
for
turn around and ban
clarification-
new Christians from entering?
And for clarification, when you have somebody that is actually known, like for instance,
Navajo, you're not
Anglo-
answering my question. You're not answering my question.
I'm answering it. You
So if
just
a
don't like
Christian
the-
is
you don't
committing
like
an
the
act of
answer.
terror on U.S. soil, is it justified to turn around and ban all new Christians from entering?
If you have, hypothetically speaking, like IRA didn't always used to be a savings account. Okay, realistically,
I don't know- I
IRA
don't
did
know
not
this.
used to be a
Should we
savings
just kick
account.
'em?
So if you have IRA people coming in, then yeah, you stop them from coming from Ireland, because that's where they're coming from.
All right, so
Do you
should we just
do you
kick 'em?
remember the IRA
Could you-
was
could
the
you-
Irish
could you-
Republican Army?
Could you just tell us, right, if you think it'd be justified, right,
I
to
just
stop
did.
all new Christians from entering into the country if one Christian commits an act of terror on U.S. soil? Yes or
When
no?
your country is 70% Christians, that's ridiculous.
Okay, so it has to do with the amount of Christians that are already in the country. So you'd say if there's more Muslims in our country, that his ban would have been unjustified?
No, if you have a known group committing known terrorism, like this gentleman just reminded you of what was going on, and saying, close the door of my United States wedding reception, that has nothing to do with racism. Why would he do that?
Okay, so then,
Abraham Accords.
so then it would have nothing to do with
Why
like,
would he have 4 years of peace in
I just
Arab
want to
countries, sir?
clarify here. You're not giving me the difference, right? You said that it wouldn't
You're
be
trying
justified
to define
ban.
Trump as a racism,
Hey,
and he's
Navajo,
not.
Navajo, 1 second. So you said that it wouldn't be justified to ban new Christians from entering into the country for the reason that there's already Christians here, right? So if we
No, I
had
just
a more
told you a
so if we had
scenario
so if we had a more predominant like a Muslim sect of like our citizen base, would you say that, you know, Trump's Muslim ban would have been unjustified?
no. Because if you have Ireland that are sending people
Okay, so
from
then
the IRA,
how come
you
then
can't
how
tell
come
who's who.
hey
They don't
so then
have a
how
sticker on their
hey
forehead.
shut up. So then
They don't
how
have a
come you
sticker on their forehead saying, "Hey, I'm a terrorist."
hey little boy pipe down. So
I'll
you
mute
said that
myself.
specifically speaking, it would be unjustified to ban new Christians from entering into the country because 70% of Americans are Christian. But now you're saying even if 70% of Americans were Muslim, it still would have been justified from banning new Muslims from entering into the country. So that's a contradiction.
That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that
Okay,
if
so
you
then
have,
why would it be banned? Why would it be why would it be unjust to ban new Christians from entering into the country, but not new Muslims?
I didn't say it wouldn't be justified if they are actually Christians that are coming to harm people, let's say from Ireland, using that analogy. If they're sending the IRA over here, they don't have stickers on their forehead saying, I'm in the IRA. It's like looking for a needle in a stack of needles.
So I just want to clarify: the Muslims that were in our country that committed these terror attacks on San Bernardino were a U.S. citizen and their spouse. They didn't.
Let me
come
ask you
here.
this.
No,
Yeah,
don't deflect. Don't
I'm not
deflect. They
deflecting.
did.
It's
No,
just you don't
Navajo.
understand
Navajo.
unless I
They
use
Navajo.
analogies.
Navajo. They didn't come here. They were a U.S. citizen and their spouse.
Like I said, when it happened, when you're a leader, you got to make tough decisions really fast.
Okay, so then it
The
would be
first
justified to
decision
ban.
you'll make-
If it was Christians who committed that act of terror, would it be justified to ban new Christians from entering?
if you have a reception and they're coming,
No. If it was no. If it was Christians who committed the San Bernardino terror attack, would it be justified to stop new Christians from entering into the country?
No, because the mathematical certainty is not there when you have that many Christians already here that are Anglos.
Okay.
They could
So
be
then why
living here.
why would you say,
close the door
Purdy? I
to,
appreciate you for the boxing
incoming?
gloves. I appreciate you for the love. Let's get some W's in the chat for Purdy. Thank you for the boxing gloves. So you
You just
particularly
destroyed his whole premise with that. I'm so glad you did that.
Thank
Not
you.
at all.
Yeah. So now you're saying
Not at all.
because even if it was the Christians who committed the San Bernardino attacks, it wouldn't be justified to ban new Christians from entering because we already have a lot of Christians in the U.S. So if 70% of American citizens,
not
hey,
using
stop and
logic,
listen.
Dean.
Stop. I am using logic. You're not.
How many
Stop and-
Christians
Hey, Navajo.
want to destroy the United States compared to the small?
Yeah, the biggest attack of terror that we've had on the United States of America against our government, against our constitution, and against our civil and electoral processes happened in 2020 when Trump tried to steal the outcome of the election from Joe Biden, and Trump is a self-proclaimed
That's not true
Christian.
either.
It absolutely is true, but we could talk about that next. So I just want to clarify here. You're saying that it wouldn't be justified to stop new entries of Christians into our country, specifically for the reason that 70% of citizens are already Christian. So if when these San Bernardino attacks occurred, right, if 70% of the citizen base was Muslim, would it be justified to turn around and not, would it be not justified to turn around and ban all new Muslims from entering?
That's not true at all. That's not what I said. I said it would be justified to ban Christians if there was a series of events from, for instance, the IRA that's from Ireland that are Christians, the Irish Republican Army, and we're coming here and you can't tell who is who. Yes, shut down the border. Don't let them in.
So if another country is sending them in to commit acts of terror, then it's justified. But if another country is not sending them in
Until you figure out what's going
then
on.
it is not justified. So yeah,
Nobody
the San
said
Bernardino
permanent,
attacks
Dean.
were committed by a U.S. citizen and their spouse. They were not sent by another country, meaning according to
Yeah,
logic,
hindsight's
the Muslim ban
20/20.
was unjustified.
Hindsight's 2020, but when it happens, you need to make a hard decision. And if it's happening at your wedding reception, the first thing you do is close the door.
So okay, so so you're saying in hindsight, so we don't know if another country sent them in or not. So wouldn't we say in the
No,
same
no, they didn't know
circumstance,
who they
if
were when
Christians
they did
committed
it.
this attack, hey, and would you say in the same circumstance, if Christians were to commit this attack, we wouldn't know if another country sent them in, so therefore it would be justified to ban all new countries from entering into the country?
No, you're taking the information that Leos and the POTUS had at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
and
So
Leos
if
and
Christians
POTUS
committed
had
this,
now.
if Christians committed
Now
this
they know
attack,
they were
hey,
Americans.
hey,
They didn't know it then.
Navajo. So if Christians committed this attack and we didn't know if they were sent in by another country or if they were citizens, would it have been justified for Trump to ban all new Christians from entering into the country?
If they were coming from places like the IRA, yeah.
Wait, but remember, we don't know where they're coming from. We're going to say that they were U.S. citizens.
I
We
just
just didn't know
said-
for sure.
Yeah, I just said the mathematical numbers of people that here that are
Okay.
Anglo.
Okay. So if Christians committed this attack of terror, it would be justified to turn around and ban all new Christian entries.
Yeah, but when you have people
Really?
that are
Really? Okay.
actually
So if Christians
coming
commit
from
attacks
a
of terror
Christian
on U.S.
country-
soil, it's justified to ban all Christians from entering. Christians commit the most domestic attacks of terror. Should Biden implement a Christian ban tomorrow?
if you find that
Crazy.
these people have a series of events that are attacking the U.S. citizens.
Cyber, thank you so much for the $10 on
IRA.
Venmo. I really appreciate you for the love. Let's get some W's in the chat
They're
for Cyber.
Christians,
Also, I
doesn't
just want to
matter.
clarify that we knew that these
It
individuals were
doesn't
U.S.
matter
citizens
what
prior
their
to Trump's
religion
ban.
is.
I just want to
It
clarify.
doesn't matter.
Hey, Navo, I just wanted to
didn't-
clarify. Hey, I just wanted to clarify that we knew that these individuals were U.S. citizens prior to Trump's ban.
No. That's not true.
It was true, yes.
No, it's not true. We didn't know anything. It was called.
Yes, we
It's
did.
kind of like the fog of war.
Yes, we did. We knew who committed the terror attacks prior to Trump's ban. Of course we did.
No,
We
we didn't.
Okay, would you be able to indicate a source that we didn't?
Yeah, it's called. You can't solve an unaliving right when you walk up to the body. It takes time.
Yeah, it took about a day.
No, that wasn't confirmed. That was
Okay,
speculation.
yeah.
Nobody
Could
knew
you give
for
me a
sure.
source? Could you give me a source?
Everybody was saying it's unconfirmed.
So could you indicate it? Hey, little boy, can you indicate me a source?
So when they
So your source
shut
is
the
trust me,
door
bro.
down-
So no, don't
What's the
pivot.
smart
Indicate.
thing to
Hey,
do?
hey, fuck. Indicate me a source.
Oh, you're getting personal attacks. That means you're getting defensive.
Okay,
which
so
means
it's
you're
okay for
incorrect.
Trump to launch a personal attack on everybody pertaining to the Islam religion, but as soon as I turn around and call you a fuck, you turn into a baby and you start crying. Indicate
No,
me
nobody
a source,
said I'm a
little bro.
baby. I'm just stating out the facts that you're getting defensive would suggest I'm correct.
It would suggest that I know that you're wrong and you're currently annoying me as you're
Not at
continuing
all.
to pivot around my question and me asking you for a source to indicate what you're saying is true.
No, but in retort of your comment to me, I bet you're under 25.
Can you give me a
right?
source? Hey, can you give me a source?
Yeah, it's called the news.
Okay, what station? What
You
publishment?
have unconfirmed reports that
Wait, the
ABC
news is not a source. The news is
But
not a
if
source.
somebody is known, whether they're
Hey,
Christian,
Navajo,
whether
Navajo.
they're Muslim, it doesn't matter.
Hey Navo, so just saying news is not a source. So can you indicate me a publisher
Not
and the title of an
propaganda.
article?
Google it. It's free.
Okay, so just telling me to Google it isn't giving me a source.
So you can actually walk up to an unalive
So
body
you
and
don't
think
have
you
a
can solve
source.
the crime
You
right
don't.
there.
You don't have a source, little
It
bro.
takes time.
You don't have a source.
Yeah, it's called common sense. You can't solve an unaliving right when
Common
you walk
sense
up to
is
the
your
court.
source. So common sense led people to the conclusion.
Can you
that the
solve
Earth
an
was flat
unaliving
300
right when
years
you come
ago.
up to the body? No, you can't. It takes time. It takes
You could.
investigation.
They identified the shooter, Donald Trump, in less than 48 hours.
Okay, that's 2 days. You said a day, and then it's going to
Yeah,
take.
yeah,
time
and then he
to-
turned around like
it
3
takes
weeks
a
later
long time,
and
Dean.
instituted his Muslim ban.
It takes a long time. You actually think the guy that started the Abraham Accords to get peace in Israel,
Hey,
the
hey,
first
Navo.
historic flight from
I'm just gonna go ahead and clarify this once again. So
Arab
Trump,
country to Israel?
so Trump announced right the Muslim ban 3 weeks after these events had occurred. Right. So specifically speaking, right, they had identified the terror attackers as a U.S. citizen and their spouse, right, prior to the time in which Trump announced the Muslim ban. All right, you're discounting this. You're saying that this is false. Once again, I'm asking you for a source. Right? I'd love for you to indicate to me a source in which would detail what you were saying as being true.
Whether they're American or they're not American is irrelevant. Any group of people that
So now you're saying that whether they're American or not an American is irrelevant. So if 2 American citizens, 2 Christians committed an attack on terror on San Bernardino in those same circumstances, it'd be justified to turn around and ban all new Christians from entering into the country?
absolutely, if you find they're coming from the Ireland and the IRA, 100%.
Wait, but you just said if they're a citizen or not a citizen, it's irrelevant. But now you're saying
It
it's only
doesn't.
relevant if they're not a citizen.
It's relevant. Whether they're a citizen or not a citizen, to stop them from coming into the USA is 100% justified when you're not sure. It's like looking for, again, a needle in a stack of needles. You
I just
can't
want
tell.
to.
So if
I just
they're
want
coming
to.
from
Hey,
Ireland
I just
and
want to
they're in the
clarify. Hey,
IRA,
I just want to clarify something real quick. So
stop them.
I just asked you, right, if it's relevant, if they're a U.S. citizen that lives in America or not, and you said it's not relevant, right? When we're talking about the Muslims, but as soon as we're talking about the Christians, it is relevant. So why is it only relevant for the Christians but not relevant for the Muslims?
Because on site of an unaliving, you don't know what's what. It's called the fog of war.
That's not an
As
answer
you
to my question.
learn,
That's not an answer to my question. Right? I'm asking you a rational question here. So
yeah,
you said
yeah,
that it's
he
only
said
relevant if
until
they're
we
Christian.
figure out what's going on, Dean.
Purdy,
You
thank you
remember
for the
that
boxing gloves.
statement?
I appreciate you for the love. Let's get some W's for Purdy in the chat. Thank you so much for the boxing gloves. Can you repeat my question? I'm not sure you understood my question.
Yeah, whether it's Christian national or Muslim, is it relevant to ban them if you think they're going to be doing something dangerous until you
No,
figure out what's going on?
no. So that
Yeah,
wasn't my
you close the
question.
door of your writing reception
Hey,
if there's
Navajo.
unaliving going
Hey,
on in there.
Navajo. Hey, Navajo. With all due respect, that wasn't my question. Will you listen a little bit closer this time?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so you specifically said if two Christians had committed the act of terror on San Bernardino, then it would only be justified to ban new entries of Christians if they traveled from another country. But if two Muslims committed the act of terror on San Bernardino, then it is not relevant whether they came from another country or not, and the ban is justified. So why do you hold a different standard there?
It's not a different standard. I just told you, Dean, that it's irrelevant whether they're on the topic of closing a border.
Okay, so
Okay,
that is a different standard, all right? And
it's not.
I'll make the difference in the standard explicitly clear for a second time.
Whether they're
So
Christians, Muslims,
hey,
whatever.
hey, so I'm gonna make the difference in the standard explicitly clear for the second time. So the difference in your standards that you're using here is if it is the case that the Christian is from another country, it is then and only then that it is justified to ban all new Christian entries. But if the Muslim is from our country or from another country, you could ban new Muslim entries either way. So if you were to say that you didn't have a different standard here, you'd say rather the Christian is from our country or not, it is justified to ban all new Christian entries. But you didn't say that. You said it's only justified to ban them if they're entering from another country.
Again, you're forgetting the fact that you cannot solve unaliving right when you walk up with a corpse. They found out later who is who. Do they have ties to T groups? What are their motives? Was this something that was done just out of a
So
triangle of
that's not
love,
so Navo, that's not
or
relevant
would they
because
designate it?
we're not
How
talking
long
about the
does it take? How long
information.
does it
Hey,
take, Dean, to
Navo.
designate a T attack?
Hey, Navo, so we're not talking about the information that they had available to them at the time. We're talking about your standard insofar as when it is and isn't justified to ban new entries. Right? Because in one
Yes,
second.
and
So,
remember,
okay, so Navo, you're
remember
not
what he
tracking here.
said.
I'm going to go ahead and clarify here
All
just
right, go
for a
ahead,
second.
go ahead, go ahead,
Just
go
going to
ahead.
clarify for a second time. So we're not talking about the information that they had available to them at the time. We're talking about the actions that can be partook in. So you're saying that banning all new Christian entries are only justified if they're from another country, but you could ban all new Muslim entries even if they're from the own country. So why wouldn't we say here that we couldn't have all the available information available to us at the time and ban all new Christian entries because they could have been from another country if a Christian were to have committed the San Bernardino attacks?
Because I just told you. What did Trump tell you, Dean? He said, until we figure out what's going on. So the information that he had at the time was so conflicting that he wasn't sure either way. So in the interest,
Yeah, yeah. So why wouldn't we say the same thing if a
well,
Christian committed the attack? We weren't
you keep
sure if they come from
interrupting me,
another
bro.
country or not.
Okay. Like I was just saying, you keep interrupting me in the middle of my
Yeah,
sentence.
because you're not tracking the question that I'm asking you.
Yes,
You
I
said I'm gonna-
am. You're just
No,
not liking
no,
my
no. The
answer.
reason I'm actually detailing you specifically how you're not tracking like the question that I'm asking you. So once again, the question that I'm asking you is, well, if a Christian committed this attack, wouldn't we'd still not be sure if they're U.S. citizen or not, or if they came from another country? So why wouldn't it be justified to ban all new Christian entries? Because
Here's
we didn't
here's a
have that
legal
available
term.
information to us at the time.
Here's a legal term I'm going to throw you away that might explain it a little easier for you. Err on the side of caution.
Yeah. So why
Okay.
wouldn't we err
So
on the
when
side of
he,
cautions if a Christian committed the attack by banning all new Christian entries?
this is your life, so I'm giving you the respect to just treat me rude and cut me off all you want.
I'm
But
I'm
when
asking you a
err
question that you
on the
haven't
si-
answered.
But yes, sir, I am. When you err on the side of caution, you're protecting the U.S. citizens from the actual potential of any further violence, whether it's from a Christian, a Muslim, a Hebrew, whatever. If
Okay.
you have a
So
specific
if a
group of
Christian,
people
so
that
if
are
a
doing
Christian committed
certain
the terror
things, can
attacks
I
on
finish?
if a Christian committed the terror attacks on San Bernardino in comparison to a Muslim, it would be justified to err on the side of caution and ban all new Christian entries, correct?
In a situation similar, if they were coming from Ireland and they are the IRA members,
Wait, remember,
exactly.
we don't know where they're coming from. We're just erring
Okay,
on the
they're
side of
here,
caution.
but they're known to be IRA members.
Wait, but
Yes,
now you're implying that we know where they're coming from. So if you're
exactly
implying
my
that
point. Thank you
if
for
you're
just
implying
winning
that
my
we know where
argument.
they're
We
so if you're
don't know.
so if you're implying that we do know where they're coming from, well, why don't we just imply that same thing about
When
the Muslim that
Trump
we
banned
knew
it,
was a
what
US
was the
citizen?
last three words? That last words he said, until
Until
we
we could
figure out
what the
what's
hell's going
going on.
So if a Christian commits an act of terror and we don't figure out until later that they're a that they're a U.S. citizen, would it be justified to turn around and ban all new Christian entries until we figure that out?
He knew enough to know that they were coming from T countries, and if that Christian was coming from a, let's say, where IRA came from, I don't got nothing against Ireland. I got 3% Irish in me, but if they're coming from that
Okay.
IRA,
So here's
then
the
yes,
defeater.
cut off the Ireland.
Here's
Cut
the
off
defeater.
Ireland.
Here's the defeater. Here's the defeater.
There is no defeater.
Yes, here's the
It's due
defeater.
diligence.
Here's the defeater.
You have to make
no,
it err on the
Navajo,
side of caution.
Navo. Did Trump know the Muslims were coming from another country?
When you walk up to the corpse, you have the bodies that actually are
Navo,
unalive.
did Trump
You have-
know that the Muslims were coming from another country?
Yeah, when they're shouting Allah Akbar, yeah.
Praise be to God. So when someone shouts praise be to God, they know that they're coming from another country?
Oh my gosh. How many actual times did you have
You're saying when someone shouts praise be to God, they're coming from another country, even though they're US citizens.
How many times do you have to lift the toilet seat before you figure it out?
Cyber, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love. Let's get some W's in the chat for
Some
Cyber.
faces take
I really
common
appreciate
sense.
you for the love. So I just want to clarify that Trump didn't know that they were coming from another country
No,
because
he
they
used
didn't
the
come from another
information that
country.
He got from the site, from the witnesses. The 5 minutes after it happened, he used that information.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try to make this clear one last time for you, Navajo. If you
He-
can't, hey, buddy, I'm gonna go ahead and talk now. I'm gonna
Err
go
on
ahead
the
and
side of caution,
hey,
Dean.
hey, I'm gonna go ahead and try to make this clear one last time, okay? So if you don't end up accepting this one last time and answer directly, I'm gonna go to move on to the next guest because I'm making myself so explicitly clear here, and you just literally lack the intelligence to have a constructive, logical dialogue with me. Okay,
That's not
so
true
I'm
at
gonna
all.
go. It is true, unfortunately.
No, you're under 25, which means
so
technically
half
the
your age, twice as smart and
the
wise.
consequential portion of your
Hey,
brain isn't even
so
fully developed
without-
yet.
And I'm still smarter than you. I know, crazy.
No,
right?
you're not. You're
So
functioning
anyway-
at diminished capacity.
I'm functioning at such a small capacity, and I'm still
It's a
dog
medical
walking you in this
fact,
debate.
Dean.
It's a
Look it
medical
up.
fact that I'm still dog walking you.
Goodbye.
What does
You
that
have a
mean
great
about
life.
you?
Thanks for letting me
Oh,
speak.
so this is where you run away because you know that you're wrong. Let's get some runner emojis down below in the chat. Let's get some runner emojis down below in the chat. See, that's what happens when the racists get brought up onto the live and then they get dog walked. See what I mean, chat? That's just what happens every single time. Thank you so much. Victoria, thank you so much for the $15 on Venmo. I really appreciate you for the love. Let's get some massive W's for Victoria in the chat. I really do appreciate that. We are going to go ahead and move on to our next guest at this point. Victoria says, I was one of the law enforcement officers who responded to the attack in San Bernardino. I do not believe in banning anyone based on religion. Bad people do bad things regardless of religion. Massive W's for Victoria. And that's also insane that you happen to be watching the live. That's awesome. We're going to move on to our next guest, Peter, here, y'all. So everyone just give us 1 minute. We are already starting the day off strong with some racists. Let's go and get our next guest up in the box literally right now, chat. If you are voting for Trump, make sure to hop in that queue. Let me know in that chat. We are going to go in and get our next guest up in the box literally right now. So everyone just do be patient, y'all. Everyone just do be patient. For the 3,000 people in here, make sure that we are double tapping away in that phone screen, folks. Let's go and get our next guest up in the chat. What's going on, Alex? Ebony, thank you so much for the train. I appreciate you for the love. Are you voting for Dipey Don?
Who? Donald
Dipey Don?
Trump?
Yeah.
You're.
Okay, why so?
Just because.
Okay, because why?
Because I want to.
So why do you want to vote for the felon, rapist, fraudster, election denier, womanizer, racist?
Well, if they let him be president, is it really true
Can you repeat that?
that if they're letting him run for presidency, is it true or no?
If Jeffrey Dahmer was alive today, he could run for president per the Constitution.
Oh, well, no one's voting for Jeffrey Dahmer.
So you're saying that it's not true Trump's a rapist because people support him and are voting for him? It's kind of a weak argument.
Well, it's okay to cry.
I'm crying? Really?
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, it's okay.
I'm so confused. How many continents are there?
A lot. I don't know. 9.
So that explains my point perfectly. Goodbye, Alex. We're going to move on to our next guest here. Everybody just give us a minute. Let's go and get Doug Charles up in the box, y'all. Everyone just do give us a minute. Just be patient, guys. That perfectly explained my point there. If you are MAGA, let me know in the chat literally right now, and we're going to go and pull you up here. So everyone just be patient. 9 continents is crazy. Maybe he meant brain cells. Maybe he meant brain cells. He lost so bigly. Such a tiny brain. Moving on to our next guest here, y'all. Everybody give us a minute. Hello, are you voting for Trump?
Of course.
Okay, why so?
Hey, Dean, you know what? I caught part of your conversation with that guy Navajo. And why were you calling him a racist? I only caught part of your conversation.
Oh, yeah, because he thinks that racial profiling is smart.
Oh, isn't that what Obama did? Because I heard you mention the Muslim countries, yet it was Obama that banned those Muslim countries from coming into the United States.
No, you are confused. So
No.
predominantly, he had
No.
countries on a watch list, but then
No.
Trump stepped in and he
No.
said that he didn't want to just ban individuals from these countries
That's
entering.
not true.
He wanted to ban all Muslims from entering.
That's not true. Obama banned 9 Muslim countries from entering the United
Well,
States.
I like to clarify here. Yeah, through what bill?
I don't know the bill, but it's true. Dean, look, there's one thing that Navajo said to you that is very true. How old are you?
Do you
Wait a
mind?
minute. How old are you?
Okay.
19?
Okay.
19?
No, I'm actually 20 now.
Okay, you weren't even alive during 9/11.
That's right, I wasn't.
I was 26, I believe, when it happened. You don't know a lot of these things that you're talking about. I don't know, man. I understand you're young and you want, people, oh, thank you for the $20, guys. And I understand that this is your job. I understand that, right? So you're going to say and do anything to get that money in your Cash App. I understand that. So this is your job. So you basically at this point, you're a parrot, right? You're a parrot. And you will say and do anything.
Ebony, thank you so much for the $15 on PayPal for being awesome. Let's get some W's in the chat for Ebony. Thank you so much for the love.
Oh my God, guys, thanks for the $20. I don't have a job, so just keep giving me because I'll keep telling you
What's a
whatever
job?
you want to hear, guys. I'll
What's
keep
a job?
saying whatever you want to hear, guys, so that I can just get money. You're a parrot, just like Harry,
Hey, can I have
dude.
So first of all,
And Parker,
I don't,
dude.
I don't,
Wait,
I don't say things.
refute what I said.
Yeah,
Refute what I said.
Of course, man. Of course. So you're saying
did
that
Obama
I said...
ban those? Wait, did Obama ban those Muslim countries? Yes
wait,
or no?
Des, you were like throwing a bunch of things
See,
at me.
oh,
I'm
you
gonna
won't
go to
answer the
respond to them all.
question. Go
Okay,
ahead.
I'll go ahead and start off with Obama. Yeah. So as far as I'm aware, no, Obama did not ban new entries
Oh,
from
but you won't
particular
look it
countries.
up. But you won't look it up.
Des, with all due respect, I did ask
See,
you for the name of the executive order
listen,
of policy that he
look
influenced
it,
to get
look-
passed that
look,
banned entries
Dean,
from these countries.
Dean,
I'm more
Dean.
than willing to do research. Do you mind if I
Dean,
talk real quick without interruption?
It's very simple for you to look up. You don't want to look it up. Just like you don't want to look up the over 300,000 children that are missing under the Biden-Harris administration, right? You don't want to talk. You're going to support the people.
we can talk about all these things.
All right, let's go.
Corey, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. They should shut up and bring facts. I know, right? I appreciate you. So, anyways,
Oh my God,
do
guys!
you mind if
Thanks
I-
for the gifts, guys. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you mind if I talk real quick? Awesome.
Yo, that's how you sound. You sound. It's embarrassing to hear a man speak that way. Speak like a man. Just say, hey, thanks for the gifts, guys. No, my God, guys, let me eat this microphone and say thank you, guys, for the $20, guys.
Des, do you need
That's
a
what you
Kleenex?
sound like. No, go ahead.
Do you need a
Go
Kleenex
ahead.
or a baby bottle?
Go ahead. Come on. Let's go, David Bowie. Let's go.
Des, do you need a baby bottle?
Let's go. Let's go. Let's talk.
Let's get some
facts
baby
here.
bottles in the chat for Des. Okay, so I'm going to go to respond to the multitude of claims.
Let's talk facts here, Dean, because let's talk facts.
All right, Des, am I going to have to put you on mute?
Come on, let's go.
All right, awesome.
Tell
So
me why
anyways,
you
we're going to
support
go...
Kamala Harris and the open border with over 300,000
Christine, thank you for the
children missing.
$5 on Venmo for Dez's baby bottle fund. I appreciate you for the love. So do you think that we have an open border today?
Oh my God, guys! Thanks for the gifts, guys. Because I don't want to get a real job, guys. I want
Wait,
to
Des,
sit
what's a
here
real
and
job?
tear bullshit. I want to sit
Des,
here and
what's a
tear
real job?
bullshit. Listen, what are you gonna
Des,
do?
what's a
when
real
they-
job? Des, I have
what
a
are you-
question.
what
What's a real job?
What are you gonna do when they ban TikTok?
If I get fired from my job, what will I do?
What
Hey,
will
Des,
you do?
what's a real job?
What will you do?
I'll go back to developing software, buddy. Anyways,
Okay,
answer my question.
yeah.
What's a real
you-
job?
You're a coder. All right, go ahead.
What's a real job, Des? You said I don't have a real job. What is a
Look,
real
I'm
job?
not-
Can you
look,
define
look,
real job?
I'm not talking that stupid. Let's talk about real stuff. Let's talk
I know.
about
I'm sorry. No. You said that I don't have a real job. What is a real job?
Parker. You're a cyber panhandler.
Aaron, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo to make the guests cry more. I appreciate you for the love. That is awesome. Thank you so much for the love. Massive W's for Aaron in the chat. Let's go. And John, thank you so much for the $25 on PayPal, saying your efforts are definitely a real job. Let's get some massive W's in the chat for John. And Karen with the $10 on Venmo, saying happy belated birthday. Thank you so much for the love. Let's get some W's for Karen and some W's for John. Let's go. Anyways, buddy, what's a real job? Tell me.
Oh my God, guys! I'm a cyber panhandler. I'll say and do whatever. you want me to
Kevin,
say,
shut
guys.
up. Kevin, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo, saying 4 more
Oh my
whining
God,
from the
guys,
guests.
I'm a
And
cyber-
Darrell, thank you so much for the $2 on Venmo for job of trying to debate with an infant. Let's go, dude. Anyways, buddy, what's a real job? I don't know why you keep interrupting me.
Come on, let's talk about this Kamala and what she's done at the border along with Biden.
Your name's Kamala? So you don't
It's
want to talk
Ka-
about the
it's
fact that you
Kamla.
can't tell me what a real job is.
Look, buddy, I got a real job, okay? I've been doing what I do for 23 years. I'm an electrician.
So what is a real
Okay.
job?
A real job, I mean, look, let's move past this. Let's talk about real stuff, okay?
Yeah,
talk
let's move past that. Yeah, sure.
Well, seeing that you didn't want to answer my question about Obama banning those 8 Muslim countries.
Lo, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo to make Des cry more. Thank you for the love. I literally did answer it. I asked you for
No,
the
you
policy
didn't.
or executive order you signed into law
Dean,
that banned
Dean,
Muslims from
Dean,
entering from particular countries.
Dean, it's very easy to look up. You have a
Autumn,
computer
thank you
right-
so much for the $5 on Venmo, saying that guest is a jealous, broke crybaby. Let's get some W's in the chat for Autumn. Thank you for the love.
Oh man, Parker, you know how much, or Dean, you know how much I make an hour?
No.
Take a guess.
Milady, thank you for the $10 on PayPal, saying cyber panhandling and happy belated birthday. Let's get some W's in the chat for Milady. Thank you so much for the love. No, I don't care how much you make an hour. So
Of course
yeah,
you don't. Of course you don't.
yeah. So see, that's kind of like normal is to not
Okay,
really
come on.
care about
Come
what
on.
other people do for an income.
Thanks,
but
guys. Thank you
seemingly
for all
care
the
so
gifts,
much about
guys.
what
Because
I
I'm gonna
say.
say and do whatever.
Okay, so Des, just once again to respond to the Obama claims that you made, you can feel free to reference me a policy or an
Look, just
executive
look it
order
up, and you have.
that Obama signed into law that particularly banned Muslims from entering into the country. And by the way, I did look it up. I looked up Obama Muslim ban, and the first thing that popped up was how Trump's administration banned Muslims from entering into the country. So this is why I'm gonna have you do the research for your own claims. But yo, Elizabeth, thank you for the $20 on Venmo, and Sally with the $10 on Venmo as well. Let's get some massive W's in the chat for Elizabeth and Sally. Thank y'all so much for the $20 and the $10 on Venmo. You were awesome. Thank y'all so much for the love. Massive W's down below. Thank you, Elizabeth and Sally. So anyways, Des, once again, my question to you was, all right, do you think that we have a...
Are you not embarrassed doing that shit? For real, you're not embarrassed?
I'm not embarrassed
You should
whipping
be
your ass
embarrassed.
any day of the week.
What-
You
what-
should be embarrassed. You're
what did
voting
you
for the
say?
felon rapist wannabe dictator on day one.
Hold on. Did you say you would whoop my ass?
Kevin, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo for more guests crying. Let's get some W's in the chat for Kevin. And Christine with the $10 on Venmo saying happy belated birthday. Also, more funds for my real job. W's for Kevin and Christine. Let's go. Thank you so much. I really appreciate y'all for the donations. You guys are awesome. So anyways, do you think that we have an open border today?
How many people came in undetected under the border, through the border right now?
So
Was
no
it
answer
not-
to the question?
Wait. Did Biden not tell people to come rush the border?
He didn't. In fact,
didn't?
they third people to third around. So where's
Parker.
can you answer my question? My name's not Parker.
Look,
Crazy.
Dean.
So answer my question. Do we have a crisis or an open
Dean.
border today?
You know what? You are an embarrassment to men.
Parker.
You are an embarrassment.
to men because I don't support.
get me some.
I'm such an embarrassment to men because I don't support the rapist pedophile that has sexualized little girls and boasts about grabbing women by the P word. I'm such an embarrassment for men because I don't want to vote for the guy that's already tried to stage a coup to overthrow our government and rig an election. I'm such an embarrassment to men because I want women to have rights. No, I'm an embarrassment to incel alt-right quote-unquote alpha gym bros that haven't had a conscious thought since.
Let's talk
like, I don't
January
know,
6th.
birth.
You want to talk January 6th? Let's talk January 6th, since you want to use that as a talking point.
Yo, yeah, sure, man. Jasmine,
Oh,
thank
yeah,
you so
sure.
much for the
Yeah,
$10 on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love. Let's get some W's for Jasmine in the chat. Yeah, so let's go to. I mean, so
let's-
you wanted to pivot. I'll go ahead and entertain your pivot. Let's talk about January 6th when Trump tried to rig an election to steal the vote from Biden by sending fake slates of electors to 7 different states to cast fake Trump votes into Congress from states that he lost, then turning around and asking Mike Pence to certify them as real to install himself for a second presidential term, even though he lost, attempting to ignore the voice in the vote of every single American voter in the 2020 election, specifically being the biggest internal attack on our government and on our democracy since the Civil War. Let's talk about it, little bro.
Okay, let's talk about it, little bro. Did you know that Obama had stand-in alternate, what do you call them? Delegates?
Thank you
When
so
he-
much.
when
Thank you
he
so much
ran
for the
for
sunglasses. I appreciate you for the love.
See what I mean? Did you know that Obama had alternate stand-in delegates on his second when he ran for a second term? Did you know that?
Delegates in Congress? Delegates
No,
are in
no, no.
Congress.
Listen to what I said. Did you? Know
Rainey,
that
thank
he-
you for the 50,
did-
50 cents on Venmo.
Did you know that he had alternate stand-ins ready to go?
Where?
See, that's what I mean. You don't even know what you're talking about, and here you are.
I'm
Here
asking
you
you. I
are,
mean,
you're talking.
you're
Look,
saying
anybody in the chat-
delegates
look,
in the
anybody-
general
listen,
election.
anybody
I'm
in the
just
chat can look
clarifying
it up.
here. Delegates
Anybody-
don't
listen,
serve in the general
listen,
election.
listen to what I
Delegates
said.
serve in the primaries
Listen,
of the
okay,
private
listen
political
to what I
parties,
said.
and they're not. They're
Oh,
not
my
called
God.
stand-in delegates. They're called super delegates, which is a function of every single primary election.
I'm talking about alternate.
Hannah,
delegates.
thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. My workday would be so boring without your live. Thank you so much for the love, Hannah. Let's get some W's in the chat for Hannah. I appreciate you so much. So Obama sent fake
Listen, bro.
slates of
Listen, bro.
electorates?
Listen, bro. You don't like facts. You're a fucking pussy, and if I ever catch him, I knock your fucking ass out. Fucking little bitch.
You're
You
crying.
and Parker.
You're
You
crying.
Parker. You
Get
Parker
mugged.
and Dean and Harry are little.
Yeah, you
bitches.
Parker and Dean, real smart guy.
You guys are little bitches. You're the fucking laughing stock of this country. You fucking little faggots.
Oh shit, he is pissed. We are gonna go ahead and kick him off of the stream for slurring. I apologize for his use of slurs, chat. Following the MAGA script to a T, unfortunately. They like to say they're not bigoted, then turn around and do that shit. Honestly, that was a little bit unsuspecting. I was not prepared for that, but I should have been. Gabrielle, I appreciate you for the $1 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love. We're going to move on to our next guest here. What's up, Nessie? Are you voting for Trump?
Of course I am.
Okay, so why do you care about someone that doesn't care about you?
Yeah.
Trump is literally a sexist.
Why do I care about someone who doesn't care about me? Well, does Camilla care about me?
Yeah, of course. She wants to fight for
care
your
about
federally
me?
protected access to abortion. What's that?
That as well. I'm not I'm not with abortion.
Oh, okay, got
So
it.
that
Got that
doesn't
woman as
affect
well.
me.
So just can you answer my
Yeah.
question though? Like, why do you care, or why do you support Trump when he doesn't support you? He's incredibly
course I'll
sexist
answer.
with a history of ill will treatment towards women. He's sexualized little girls. He's raped an adult woman. He's boasted about grabbing women by the P word without asking first. So why do you support someone that doesn't support you?
Of course I'll answer that question. For me, I just don't really believe a lot of stuff that people say, because as soon as things start hitting the fan, they start making up stuff. I don't know about the whole media stuff. I feel like it's not really, a lot of that is just blown out of proportion. I feel like it's given to us, and a lot of accusations have been revoked. I feel like a lot of stars go through that as well. I feel like Camilla, Biden, Obama.
I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it? Thursday night. You're going up the escalator?
That's not.
I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
My source isn't media hearsay, word of mouth of someone else. My source is Trump. He is the one that was privately recorded saying that he dated a 10-year-old girl in 10 years. He's the one that went on Sirius XM with Howard Stern and boasted to him about walking into the little girls' changing rooms while they're half naked. He's the one that was privately recorded on Access Hollywood tapes in the 2000s, boasting about how when he sees a pretty woman, he just has to kiss them, doesn't even ask first, and usually grabs them by the P word too. These aren't allegations by other people. These are things that Trump has said out of his mouth and has been recorded saying so.
And I understand that. I get what you're saying. I feel like that's what you feel like, and that's totally okay. But
That's not
I
what
would
I feel
like
like. That's just what the case is.
that is, if you want to take that and run with it. I mean, people say for boys how they'll date him in 10 years when he's young. I mean, people say that all the time. So we can kind of cross out the
And
list,
every
right?
single person who's saying that is sexualizing little kids.
You're totally right. And you're so right? And they may not do it in the future, but that comment itself was wrong,
Okay, so
right?
I'm still waiting
I'm
on an
not
answer.
saying
So do
right,
you
and I'm
deny
giving
that
you an
Trump is
answer.
sexist?
I think, yeah, I don't think that he's sexist. No,
Okay, so like when
we're
he
all
says things like the best thing that could ever happen to a woman is pregnancy, or yeah, like boasting about grabbing women by the P word without consent, boasting
again
about
that.
walking into their change rooms, or even raping an adult woman, how does that not make him sexist?
I feel like to me it is all perception, right? So for me, I would have to perceive it as sexist. I think a lot of people do things or say things that are sexist, including women to men. I feel like it's kind of common, like how women would grab a man without his consent. Is that not kind of the same energy?
So
Or
this
like
is the
as a
second time
woman,
you've made this argument. So you're just
right?
saying a lot of people are sexist. Well, that doesn't discount
Of
Trump's
course,
sexism. Like for
it
instance, if the
doesn't.
year was 1850, a lot of white people would have owned slaves, but that doesn't make owning slaves any
No,
less morally
that's kind of the point I was trying
despicable.
to. That's absolutely. That brings up the point I was trying to make earlier. You mentioned how you know black people and everybody like that. I can't really pinpoint what you said, but I know that the thing about that is that every president does that.
No.
Everyone who runs for I'm sorry, that you know what I'm saying. That they always bring us into it. They always be like, we're running for black people, or we're supporting the lower end of things, and it's always indicated toward us. Every president does that, and there's a reason for that, right? Because we don't be voting, right? And they know that. So let's not act like that's new. Everybody does that, including Biden. So everybody can
I'm
perceive that's
confused of what
racist
I'm
for them.
confused what point you're getting at. So how is Kamala Harris racist? Because I can tell you how Donald Trump is racist. Right? He denied
Right.
housing opportunities to black people because they're black in the 1970s. He said that because Barack Obama is black, that must mean he's not born in the U.S. Therefore, he shouldn't be able to
You're
run for
asking,
president.
yep.
He said that Kamala Harris quote unquote turned black. When did I turn white? That's racism. So how is Kamala Harris racist? And we just got banned on that backup account as well. So we are going to be doing the rest of the streams for the day here on DNC Dean. Y'all already know. Quite unfortunate, but it is what it is. I also can't really do a night live tonight because it is the case that I'm going to be going out for a nice old dinner with a family. Maybe I'll join Parker for a co-host later in the evening. I guess we will see. For everybody tuning in, welcome into the stream, guys. How are we doing? Make sure that you are double tapping away on that phone screen. Make sure that you're sharing out that live as well. If you're voting for Trump, hop in that queue, hop up in the box. We are going to go ahead and continue. What's going on, man? Are you voting for Trump?
Nope.
You are not. Awesome. Well, I do appreciate you for coming up, man. For everybody tuning in, for the first 400 of y'all, hop in the queue if you're voting for Trump. All right. Also, share out that live with a couple friends. We are going to go ahead and move on to our first guest tonight. So everybody just give us a minute. Yo, Sally! Sally with a $25 on Venmo saying backup stream fun. Hey, Sally, I appreciate you for the love. Let's make sure that we show some insane love to Sally in the chat for the $25 for the backup stream fund. That is so incredibly kind of you. Now, for the first 500 of y'all, this is like a very obscure, unknown backup account of mine. Kenny, thank you for the galaxy, man. So it's like it's going to be hard to get the Trump supporters in here because, only the true fans follow this account, which predominantly is not going to be Trump supporters. So help me out here by boosting this live to the For You page by double tapping and sharing. What's up, Jalen? Are you voting for Trump?
Hey,
Appreciate you for coming up. Moving on to our next guest, y'all. Everyone, just give us a second to get our first debate going. What's going on, man? Are you voting for the tyrannical rapist?
I am voting for the Let's Make America Great, Donald Trump.
Okay, all right, buddy. So why are you voting for Trump?
Because he's just a better candidate. He's going to get America back on track. Kamala won't be able to do it.
Okay, yeah, sure. Let's talk about economic policy because that's a big thing. The economy is
all that. You already know all that stuff right now. So what I'm going to talk to you is like Kamala said, what are you, 18, 20? How old are you?
I am 20 years old.
So she calls you stupid, man.
Yeah, but then if I go
24 is stupid.
But then if I turn around and I vote for Trump,
so you vote for her. So what's that make you?
One
stupid.
second. Well, but I'm gonna catch 22.
She calls you stupid, man.
1 second. But you see,
What is it?
Brother.
She called you stupid, man, and
But
you're
you-
voting for her.
You see, I'm gonna
So
catch.
that's all I wanted to say to you, man.
Dude,
Goodbye.
listen to what I'm saying. You don't want to listen. That's what they do, bro. I swear to God, some of these Republicans, they know that they can't beat me in a debate, so they just won't even listen and then they'll run away. But Rand, thank you so much for the $25 on Venmo. Let's get some W's to the chat for Rand. Thank you so much for the $25 on Venmo. That is so incredibly kind. Thank you so much for the love. Let's get some runner emojis in the chat for the last guest and some W's for Rand in the chat for the $25. Thank you so very much for the love. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. Let's go get our next guest up in here. I guess I won't waste my breath responding to his claims if he's just going to run away. What's up, Avery? Are you voting for the rapist?
Hey, brother, no, I'm voting Kamala, but I just want to say I appreciate everything you're doing. You've made me.
Thank you so much for the love, Avery. Gal, please make sure to show some love to Avery, and I apologize for kicking you out so quick, man. I am just looking to talk to Trump supporters, but you are awesome, Avery, and I love and appreciate you so much. W's for Avery. What's up, Lynch? Are you voting for Trump? Lynch is not here, not here, not here. Let's go ahead and move on to our next guest, Jose. Let's go ahead and get him up in the box. Everybody tuning in, double tap. Y'all already know. What's going on, Jose? Are you voting for Donald Trump?
Yeah, I want Donald because I want him to pay for IVF.
Brooks, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate you so much, Brooks. Thank you. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Jose.
Because I like the hypocrisy of paying for IVF and not paying for abortion. I love it.
Appreciate you for coming up, Jose. He's just a Trump. He's not a Trump supporter. But yo, Brooke, seriously, thank you so much for the gift. Make sure to show some love to Brooke in the chat. That was so very kind of you. Thank you so much for the fireworks once again, Brooks. We're still just trying to get our first debate underway, y'all. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it's taking so long. What's up, Skylar? Are you voting for Trump? See what I mean? Like, they're not even here. So guys, if you're voting for Trump, let me see some MAGAs spam below in the chat. I don't know why it's taking so long. We're just trying to get a debate underway. What's up? Are you voting for Trump?
I'm on the fence. I don't know who to vote for.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm only talking to people that are voting for Trump, but I will ask you one quick question. Would you ever vote for someone that was held civilly liable for the violent sexual abuse of a woman?
I don't know much about that, but
Brooks, let's go! Thank you so much for the motorcycle. That's insane, Brooks. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much for the love. Oh my God, Chad, please show some love to Brooks. That's incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much for the motorcycle and the fireworks. Thank you so much, Brooks. Holy crap, Chad, please show some love to Brooks. I apologize for interrupting you, man. I'll just go ahead and answer the question again so we can pick up where we left off from. Would you ever vote for someone that has been held civilly liable for the violent sexual abuse or rape without the G of a woman?
I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about at all, actually. Like, what do you mean? Like, is one of the candidates doing that? I don't understand.
So if Trump was held civilly liable, as in it was proved in a court of law that he had raped a woman violently, like he was a violent sex offender, would you still vote for him?
I mean, is that what happened? I don't know. I guess.
So I'm asking an if-then question, so it's very simple to follow. I don't understand where we're kind of like speaking past each other here. It's very simple. If Trump did this, would you still vote for him? It's a very, like, for instance, if you asked me if Kamala Harris had raped a little boy, would I still vote for her? The answer would be no. So I mean, just answer the question here. If Donald Trump was held civilly liable for being a violent sexual offender, raping a woman forcefully without her consent, would you still vote for him?
I don't know.
Okay. If Donald Trump had raped a little girl, would you still vote for him?
I don't know. I don't know who I'm voting for. I don't know.
If Donald Trump wanted to bring slavery back to America, would you still vote for him?
Obviously, I don't think so. No, I don't think about that. No, I don't know. I don't know who to vote for.
Okay. Okay. So, like, bringing slavery back.
Can I ask you a question?
No. Because I'm trying to see like where the standard, where your standard lies. So, like, raping someone isn't sufficient reason not to vote for them, but bringing slavery back is. So, why is raping someone not sufficient reason not to vote for them? Like, if Donald Trump had raped your mother, would you still vote for him?
Obviously not.
So then, if Donald Trump raped a woman that wasn't your mother, would you still vote for him?
Obviously not, but I want to
Okay.
ask a question. Though.
Okay, so there we go. You said if Donald Trump had raped a woman, you wouldn't vote for him. So Donald Trump was held civilly liable for the rape of a lady by the name of E. Jean Carroll. It was proved via a preponderance of evidence submitted to a court over 2 years to a unanimous jury that yes, that is something he was guilty of. So does this mean you will not be voting for Donald J. Trump come November?
I just told you I don't know who to vote for. So I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I don't read sources. I don't do research about that stuff.
Yeah, so just go on the internet, look up Trump v. Carroll court case 2022, and you will find like sufficient reason there not to be voting for him. But we are just looking to vote for people that are voting for Trump. I just wanted to give him good reason not to vote for Trump. But we're going to move on to our next guest right now. If you are in the queue, make sure that you are voting for Trump. We only have 5 people in the queue right now with about 1,000 people in the stream. So if you are voting for Trump, spam MAGA in the chat and hop in the queue. What's up? Are you voting for Trump? Okay, they just left. Let's go to move on to our next guest here. We got the short reels loading in, y'all. Let me know in the chat if you're voting for Trump. We're just still looking for our next guest here. Are you voting for Trump?
Yes.
Okay, why so?
That's who I prefer as my president.
And why is that?
He's better than Kamala.
And why so?
Because Kamala's been vice president. She's been in office for years. Has done nothing that I like.
Okay, so you didn't like when she passed like the PACT Act with Biden that invested nearly $1 billion into the expansion of VA healthcare benefits? You didn't like that? Why?
My VA healthcare benefits are just fine.
Yeah, they expanded VA healthcare benefits to over 1 million new veterans to cover new things, such as like burn pits are toxic burns.
That was pretty well already covered with VA benefits.
No, it wasn't. Like this bill expanded access to over 1 million new veterans.
If
Get your little bitch ass up, you little faggot motherfucker. I'll break your fucking nose.
I apologize for his use of the slurs.
You talking to me or you?
He was talking to me. Whoa. Go ahead and continue, man. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify. You're saying that they haven't done anything that you've liked. They've passed some of the most monumental legislation in modern U.S. history. Like we could talk about the PACT Act expanding access to VA healthcare benefits. They've passed the Chips and Science Act to bring manufacturing for chips to America. Here back home in America, by 2030, we're going to be producing 20% of the global chip supply. They've passed the Inflation Reduction Act, investing the most in renewable energy resources ever, right, to reduce inflation long term by addressing supply chain issues now. They passed the infrastructure bill that invested $1 trillion into local communities across the U.S. To specifically spur their local economies and to create construction jobs. So, like, you said that you didn't like any of this. That's pretty crazy for you to say that you didn't like any of this.
They keep saying inflation's at an all-time low. Where are they even getting this?
Okay, I mean, I would love for you
Things
to...
are expensive as can be. This is the most expensive things have been in a long time.
Okay, so the rate of inflation went from a 9% peak under the pandemic to 2.8% rate right now, which was the same rate we had pre-pandemic under Trump in 2018. My question for you would be, do you think that Biden and Harris caused inflation?
It's a possibility.
Okay, how did they do that?
Between their regulations and deregulations, I mean, it's going to affect the economy and inflation.
Like what
So
specifically?
I don't know which ones. I couldn't tell you which ones. But usually that's how presidents usually always affect the inflation and prices of stuff.
By
is because of
regulation and
regulations and
deregulation.
regulations.
Like what have they regulated or what have they deregulated that has caused inflation?
Well, as soon as they got into office, they shut down the pipeline for drilling. Drilling on, I know you're going to tell me, well, that it's not producing any oil. It's not producing any oil, but it was helping out the oil prices because it was for futures.
Okay, so yeah, if you look at the futures market and you evaluate the futures market before and after they shut it down, there was the same consistent trend. That's something I've already looked into. The future market was unaffected by them shutting the Keystone XL pipeline down. Then second of all, the reason they shut the Keystone XL pipeline down was because of a Supreme Court order. It ingressed upon indigenous land, and the Supreme Court concluded that construction should not continue. And then third off, the reason it didn't impact the futures market for oil was because we're still producing more oil than we ever have been before here at home in the U.S., even more than we produce under Trump's admin.
Then why is gas prices still outrageous?
Because oil is a global market, and we see a reduction in the global market from things such as Russia's invasion of Ukraine and Trump telling OPEC to decrease their outage by 10%.
So we're still blaming Russia 4 years later?
We're blaming Russia and OPEC for a decrease in the global oil supply. And of course, we're no longer getting Russian oil because of their ongoing invasion of Ukraine. Right? Those are sanctions placed on them by majority of countries in NATO. And yeah, that is going to be the reason that we see higher prices of gas at the pump.
So why don't we drill our own, like what Trump's wanting to do?
We're drilling more now than we did under Trump's administration. The Biden-Harris administration has approved 50% more drilling permits on federal land than his administration ever did. We literally have more independence, energy independence now than we had then.
Like I said, I mean, the numbers sound good, what you're giving me, but it's not affecting anything. Like I said, I mean,
because I can tell you what caused inflation. The pandemic caused an.
It's still $3.60 something a gallon. Like I said, what you're telling me sounds good, but it's not affecting anything. Like prices are still going up.
So, I mean, I've already told you that oil is a global market, right? And just because the U.S. is producing more, if the world as a whole is producing and selling less, that means that price will go up, okay? But secondly, and more so sounds like you're just blaming this on the Biden-Harris administration.
No, I'm not at all.
Because it's happened under their term, when specifically speaking, it's not caused by them, okay? Right? So could I say that the highest rate of unemployment that we've had since the Great Depression that happened under Trump's term in April of 2020 is to blame on him?
It could be partially to blame, yeah.
Okay, so if Trump is to blame for the highest rate of unemployment that we've had in the damn near last 100 years, why the hell should we vote for him over Harris?
Because Harris has been in office for years. Trump's been in office for 4.
So Harris has been in office as a VP for 4 years.
No,
she served as a senator for 3 or 4 as well. Then, of course, AG and DA prior to that. I don't see how this would give us reason to vote for Trump. This would, if anything, give us more reason to vote for Harris because we know that she's more acquainted with politics, with public service, etc. Like, imagine you were at a company and you have been working there for 4 years. Your friend had been working there for 25 years. Who is going to get the first promotion?
Obviously, the one that's been there longer.
Thank you for refuting your own logic.
Yeah, no, I got you. But she still hasn't done anything as far as like, okay, she's trying to ride Biden's train right now is what she's doing of the policies of the policies Biden passed. She still is yet to say what she's going to do. Like I've tried to look up like some of her policies she's wanting compared to Trump's. I can't find anything of what she's wanting to do as far as policies. I even went to her website. There's nothing on there besides, hey, donate to me. Like, why the fuck are we going to donate to someone when you don't even say what your policies are?
Your argument here is that you want to vote for Trump over Harris because you know more about Trump's policy. So if you knew more about Harris's policy over Trump, would this give you reason to vote for her?
It would give a reason for a lot of people. Either way, I think I'm going to
phenomenal.
Vote for Trump.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy you just fell into the trap.
I'm still voting for Trump
we literally know more about Harris's economic policy than Trump's. And I'll go ahead and just ask you this question.
Where'd you get it from?
From her campaign, from her social media, with her speeches at the DNC and her interview with CNN.
So you're getting from social media is where you're getting policies at.
Her campaign, right, makes public release, public statements about what her policy would be.
Why doesn't she come out?
Sources. She did. DNC and CNN. Yeah.
I've never heard you talking about her CNN.
I'm prepared to tell you her policy if you'd like it. Are you ready?
No, I don't want to hear it from you. I want to hear it from Kamala. You're talking about the CNN interview she had. She talked about policy.
She talked about, dude.
She couldn't even say what she was going to do on day one, Dean.
Yes, she has. There's been public releases from her campaign, and there has been. We literally know more about her policy than Trump's. She has an economic plan to cut taxes for over 100 million American workers in the low and the middle class by increasing the child tax credit to $6,000 per year for newborns. $3,600 per year from everyone from the age of 1 to 5, and then $3,000 per year from everyone from the age of 5 to 17. She wants to introduce a $25,000 first-time homebuyer subsidy particularly for newly developed properties, so developers are more incentivized to build new affordable houses where people want to live, right? She also wants to limit the amount that any American could spend on prescription drug prices to $2,100 per year and further implement caps on the price of prescription drug costs, specifically by allowing Medicare a greater ability to renegotiate drug prices with private pharmaceutical companies. This is going to cost her $2.4 trillion over the course of the next 10 years, and she intends to pay for it by increasing the corporate tax rate by 7%, which will generate $1.7 trillion, by granting Medicare Medicare a greater ability to renegotiate prescription drug prices, which will generate the federal government about $300 billion over that same time span. And then for the remainder $400 billion, she wants to increase the realized capital gains tax and introduce an unrealized capital gains tax on centimillionaires. So specifically speaking, she has a sound, strong economic plan that will make your life better by reducing your taxes, and she knows exactly how she's going to pay for it. Now I want to ask you a question.
Why doesn't she make this public?
This is public. So now I want to ask you a question. What is Trump's economic plan?
Same as hers.
No.
Yeah, because, I mean, she pretty well copy and paste all of his ideas just to get voters.
So I'm going to go ahead and now tell you the difference between their economic plans. He does not want to cut taxes further for the low and middle class, disproportionately affecting them more than the ultra wealthy and corporations. During his first term, he implemented the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that disproportionately benefited the top 1%. And during his second term, he wants to reinstitute that for another 10 years. And it's going to cost more this time because he's going to give the ultra wealthy greater tax cuts, which will cost $3.9 trillion over the course of the next 10 years. How the hell is he going to pay for it?
Same way he did last time.
Which was through what?
Through taxes, through tariffs, all that.
So he's going to pay.
That's how he was getting money, was through the tariffs.
So he's going to pay for a decrease in the government revenue by cutting taxes through taxes. Can you explain that one to me?
Because it'll come back through the economy.
So that's not true. If you'd like to reference the macroeconomic impact of the 2017 Tax Reform Act, written by 2 Harvard professors, available online, it only led to an average annual GDP growth of 0.04%. When we extrapolate that out with the current GDP of America, that'd be about $10 billion per year. Over the course of the next 10 years, that'd only be about $100 billion. So he intends to pay for this $3.9 trillion tax reform bill by specifically generating $100 billion of GDP growth.
That's usually how it works, yeah.
Do the numbers for me on that. So if it's only going to generate a GDP growth of $100 billion over the course of the next 10 years, and we'll just take half of that GDP growth for the takeaway government revenue of $50 billion, $58 billion will not pay for $2.9 trillion. That is MAGA math, if I've ever heard it.
So, like I said, you're still failing to answer the question, though. Why was everything a lot cheaper under Trump compared to what it is now? You have yet to get that answer.
Yeah, sure. I could answer that question. Chad, has he asked me that?
No, I haven't asked you that.
You're saying I was like failing to answer that question, but
I've yet to hear an answer out of anybody why things were cheaper under Trump than what they are now.
Yeah, because of the global pandemic. That caused.
You can't keep blaming the pandemic. The pandemic's over.
So the global pandemic caused global inflation, and which, by the way, is now over. We have a 2.8% rate of inflation, and which was the same rate of inflation pre-pandemic.
It's been over. You've had 4 years since.
You've had 4 years. We've had the quickest response to the inflation onset by the pandemic out of any other country in the G7. Nobody did it as good as us. You're just economically illiterate. You sound dumb.
Then how come she's not saying this? She's blaming it on price gauging is what she says. Whatever the hell price gauging is.
It's not price gauging.
She said it was price gauging. I know that. Maybe you should correct her.
Yeah, because she
probably misspoke like her VP when he said he was in war. That's
okay,
right.
Or like Trump misspoke incessantly over the course of the last 4 years, saying he won 2020. Did Trump misspeak when he said that he likes to grab women by the P word, or did Trump misspeak when he sexualized a little girl? Or was Trump misspeaking on SiriusXM with Howard Stern when he boasted about walking into the changing rooms of half-naked?
You're on a talk show with Howard Stern. Have you ever listened to a talk show of Howard Stern? Come on.
And I've listened to Trump boast to Howard Stern about how he enjoyed walking into the changing rooms of half-naked teenage girls.
Okay, that's his personal life. I'm not voting on him for his personal life.
So if Trump walked into your daughter's changing room while she was naked, would you still vote for him?
You ain't changing my mind. I'm not voting on Trump for his personal life.
So if Trump raped your daughter, would you still vote for him?
He didn't rape anybody.
He did, but if Trump raped your daughter, would you still vote?
I mean, you can ask some crazy analogies like that, but he didn't rape anybody.
Okay, so I'm guessing you know nothing about the court of law that determined that Trump was guilty of raping a woman by the name of E. Jean Carroll in 2022. You know nothing about that, right?
I know enough that it was not criminal.
It wasn't criminal. Congratulations, it was civil.
Right. So he wasn't charged with rape. So
yes,
how you keep
yeah.
calling,
The jury
you
concluded.
keep calling that he's a abuser of that. He's not.
Yeah,
he
the jury
wasn't criminally
concluded.
charged.
Yeah, so the jury concluded that he had raped E. Jean Carroll. Paul, I thank you for the money gun.
He was not criminally charged.
Captain Obvious, I know that. He was held civilly liable. What's the difference between a civil court and a criminal court? Do you know?
The burden of proof.
And what's the difference of the burden of proofs?
You need a lot more burden of proof to have a criminal conviction.
You need a bigly burden of proof. You need a lot more burden, bigly of proof. Okay. So in a criminal court, the standard of evidence is what is likely to occur beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt. In a criminal court, that's in a criminal court. Then in a civil court, it's just what is more than likely to have occurred due to preponderance of evidence. I would make the argument that the evidence E. Jean Carroll submitted in that civil court proved that Trump had raped her beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt, the same standard of evidence upheld in criminal courts. If you would dispute this, I just ask you what your reasonable doubt to the evidence was.
Because he wasn't criminally charged. That's enough for me. If he was criminally charged, it's a whole different story. He wasn't criminally charged.
Zero brain cells. So once again, right, I would say the evidence that E. Jean Carroll submitted in the civil court proved that it had occurred beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt, the standard of evidence they use to prove things in a criminal court. And you could dispute this by telling me what the reasonable doubt was to the evidence she submitted.
I don't care what the reasonable doubt was. It was not in a criminal court. Anybody can sue anybody.
Okay, so could you just repeat what my argument is here? I don't know if you understand it.
I don't think you're understanding me. I don't care what kind of, if it was in criminal court, that's a whole different story.
Okay,
you keep calling the guy a rapist. He's not because
Once again, your argument is that you would only accept it in a criminal court because in a criminal court, they prove things beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt, correct?
Yeah, like you would 100% know that person done it.
Yeah, so it's not 100%. It's beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt. So what I am saying is they proved it beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt in the civil court. And if you disagree with me here, all you have to do is tell me what the reasonable doubt was to the evidence.
Disagree with you because you don't need as much evidence in a civil court like that.
Yeah, so they use a lower threshold of evidence, but I'm saying in this particular case, they still.
So that's my argument.
So my argument is that they still proved it to that same standard of evidence in the criminal court. And if you disagree with me, all that you have to demonstrate is what the reasonable doubt was to the evidence. Because if there's a reasonable doubt to the evidence that E. Jean Carroll submitted inside of that civil court, then I will accept your argument. I don't think there is a reasonable doubt, meaning that it was proved to the same standard that criminal courts use.
You can say that all you want, but it wasn't in criminal court.
So then tell me what the reasonable doubt was to her evidence.
Why didn't she take it to criminal court if they had all this evidence on him? Why didn't she take it?
Great question, because the statute of limitations had passed.
Wow.
New York State law didn't allow her to take it to criminal court. So what is the reasonable doubt to the evidence
she
that
waited
she submitted
so long, found out he was running
court?
for president in 2016, and like, you know what? Let's bring all this up.
Oh, yeah, she waited so long. Maybe it's because 62% of women who get raped never report it to the authorities in the entirety of their life, meaning it's quite typical for victims of rape to wait so long because of the social repercussions at the hand of ignorant men such as yourself. And secondarily, if you think that she made it all up when he was running for re-election in 2019, then explain to me how she made fake state medical records from the 90s.
I didn't say she made fake medical records.
Beautiful. So, yeah, back to my question.
When did I say she made fake records? I'm saying he wasn't.
So the records were real?
She waited to charge
so the records were
in
real.
In a civil court, she started this a few years before he started running in 2016, correct?
She started this? No, incorrect.
When she started it?
2019.
2019? Who was the one that came out right before the 2016 one?
No clue. Probably one of the other 24 women that have accused him of rape. So I'm waiting. I'm going to make the argument incredibly clear. If you can't answer this question, I'm just going to move on. Now, for the 2.2 thousand people
I know you usually move on when you're wrong, dude. I've been watching you, and you move on every single time someone has an argument against you.
So you want to understand that I'm not moving on. I'm saying if you can't answer this question, I'm going to move on. So real quick, buddy. Rick, I appreciate you for the little crown. And by the way, if you can't answer this question, it will demonstrate that you don't have an argument. I just want to put that out there. So I'm just going to go out and make this incredibly clear. All right, we have 2.3 thousand people in this stream. So just let me know if I'm not clear. I want everybody in chat to let me know if I'm not clear. Right? I want to make sure that I'm communicating this clearly. I want to make sure that it's well received by little buddy down here.
You're just blabbering now.
So you're saying that you would have accepted this grape case if it was accepted in a criminal court of law, and the reason you would have accepted it if it was tested in a criminal court was because a criminal court would have proved that it occurred beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt.
I've already answered that.
So you are essentially saying here, if E. Jean Carroll proved that Trump raped her beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt, you would believe E. Jean Carroll. Now, what I am saying is that E. Jean Carroll did prove in the civil court that Donald Trump had raped her beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt. And if you disagree with my claim, I will ask you to tell me what the reasonable doubt is to the evidence submitted to the court to prove that Trump raped her. Is that clear?
Did they have a DNA test?
Is that clear?
Did they have a DNA test?
No. And
Why
the
not?
reason they didn't have a DNA
Because Trump
test
said no, right?
was because Trump said no. Exactly.
Exactly.
So the lack of a DNA test is not a reasonable doubt to a grape case, as grape
It absolutely is.
The reason
you don't have DNA tied to it.
The reason that is not a reasonable doubt is because grape is proved in criminal courts quite typically without DNA tests.
Most of the time it's with a DNA test and a grape kit.
It is about 50-50, meaning that the lack of DNA testing would not amount to a reasonable doubt, because if a lack of DNA testing did amount to a reasonable doubt, then we would not see criminal proceedings proving rapists to be rapists without DNA tests. But we do all of the time, meaning the lack of DNA testing is not a reasonable doubt. So I will ask you once again.
If you respond to a grape case, the first thing you do is send them to a hospital to get a grape kit done at the hospital.
That would be for women that report the grape as it occurs, but as we've already detailed here, 62% of women never report it to the authorities in their lifetime, meaning it's quite typical for them to not report the grape as it occurs. In fact, it is rare, right? And this is why grape is proved in criminal courts quite frequently without the use of a DNA test. So I would refute and reject your position that the lack of a DNA test would give you reasonable doubt.
Then you have more witnesses. There's other ways you can prove it without DNA, but
yes, like Eugene Carroll proved it with state medical records that indicated Trump raped her in the 90s, and the 7 witnesses.
All that really didn't even matter because it wasn't even criminal.
Okay, so now you're going back to saying
if he done something criminal, he needed to be charged criminally.
So now you're going back to saying that it wasn't held in a criminal court. But what's my argument?
I've been telling you the whole time.
I'm asking you what my argument
I've answered your question 100 times, but you keep repeating yourself.
So I want you to repeat my argument, because I have been repeating myself. I don't understand that it's not clear. Can you repeat my argument for me to make sure that we're on the same page and you understand what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're saying. You're saying it was the same evidence that they would have brought into a criminal court that they brought into a civil court.
Exactly. And the reason, once again, they didn't pursue civil charges is because the statute of limitations didn't allow them to. And by the way, those same statute of limitations didn't allow her to pursue civil charges either until they were changed because of advocation from the ACA for victims that had been raped by church fathers in the state of New York. So I think I made my point clear. Now I want to ask you one last question here. Can you name one piece of evidence that Eugene Carroll submitted inside that civil court case?
Say that one more time. Sorry, you cut out.
What is one piece of evidence that Eugene Carroll submitted in that court case to prove to the jury that Trump raped her?
I don't know. You tell me. What did she submit?
If you don't know the evidence that she used to prove Trump raped her, how do you know Trump didn't rape her?
I'm going off criminal. That's it. If it was in a criminal court, then it'd be a whole different story.
So you just think that civil courts are always wrong?
No, I'm saying if you wait long enough and you want to take it to civil court, then have at it. Go prove your case. But if you did, I mean, you could have changed
Was
his whole
OJ
life.
guilty?
If you would, she would have changed his whole life, and he wouldn't be sitting as president.
I have a question.
if
Was OJ
she-
guilty?
Was OJ guilty? No, because his was in civil court also.
So OJ, the guy that wrote a book, I Did It, wasn't guilty. That's quite like unpopular position. I'll just ask you another question.
What
make
he
this more
got? He
absurd.
got proved guilty in civil court, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And then
Why
my
couldn't
follow-
he get proved in criminal court?
Yeah, the case got thrown out when it went into criminal proceedings because of a technical filing error of evidence. But now to my next question: would you still vote for Trump if he was held civilly liable for the rape of a little girl?
He didn't rape a little girl.
Can you repeat my question to me? I don't think you understand that.
I don't think you understand. You're like I said, you're coming up with these little stories. He didn't rape a little girl.
So let's go to hypothetical. So my question would be:
I'm not even going to answer your hypothetical because he didn't rape a little girl.
the reason you don't want to answer my hypothetical.
No,
is
the
because you
reason
know
I'm not
something
going to
about
answer it because you're just blabbering some stupid shit. He didn't
blabbering some stupid
rape
shit.
a little girl.
So go ahead and ask me if I'd vote for Harris if she raped a little girl. Just ask that question real quick.
Would you vote for Harris if she raped a little girl and Trump raped a little girl? Who would you vote for?
If Harris raped a little girl, I wouldn't vote for Harris.
Who would you vote? You didn't answer my question.
I wouldn't vote at all.
You wouldn't vote at all? I don't believe that.
Okay, so now, dude, I'm being so fucking courteous to you. So not only did I try to give you an explanation of what a hypothetical
Because you're
is and what it
coming up
aims
with
to
these
achieve,
stories, man. It has nothing
but then
to
you
do
said
with
that you wouldn't
anything.
answer it. It does
Trump
have
didn't
something to
rape
do
a
with
little
it.
girl.
Okay, so I'm gonna explain this to you one last time. So hypotheticals are incredibly relevant.
They're not relevant because he
let me-
didn't rape a little girl.
So allow me to finish. I see that there's going to be a little bit of a discrepancy here in our abstract thought ability, but I hope I could, communicate a message to you that you'll understand. The point that we'd be making with hypotheticals is a test in your logic. Okay, right? Because you're telling me that the reason you're going to vote for Trump, even though he was held civilly liable for the rape of a little girl, is because you reject and do not accept civil courts. So I'm merely testing the expansion of your logic here by asking you if you would still vote for Trump if he was held civilly liable for the rape of a little girl. And yo, thank you so much for the motorcycle. I really appreciate you for the love. Let's get some W's in the chat. I really appreciate you for the motorcycle. Chaz Ito, thank you so much. It's so kind of you. Massive W's down below for Chaz Ito. Thank you so much for the motorcycle. So once again, if Trump was held civilly liable for the rape of a little girl, would you still vote for him? And do not respond, he didn't rape a little girl. I don't like your story.
Once again, you're not changing my mind. If it's in a civil court, you're not changing my mind.
So you'd still vote for Trump if you was held civilly liable for the rape of a little girl. So if you had a 7-year-old daughter and your babysitter,
You're not changing my mind. If it's in a civil court, if it was my kids, we're going to criminal court over it. I'm getting this guy to where
if you
he's
had
registering for the rest of his life.
So,
not
yeah.
taking it to civil court.
If this guy that was applying to be a gym teacher was held civilly liable for the rape of a student, do you think he should still be a gym teacher?
Yes, he's able to still be a gym teacher. I know, it's amazing. That's why you got to take it through the criminal court proceedings so the guy can register for the rest of his life.
If you had a 7-year-old daughter and you figured
That's
out that
their stupidity for wanting to take it to civil court.
One second. So if you had a 7-year-old daughter and you figured out that her babysitter had been held civilly liable for raping a 7-year-old girl that he had babysit in the past, would you still let him babysit your daughter?
Once again, I'm not changing my mind.
Would you still let him babysit your daughter?
You're in civil court.
Would you still let him babysit your daughter? Yes or no?
You're in civil court.
You're sick. You're so sick. You are so sick. You're sick. Oh my God. You just told me that if you had a 7-year-old daughter that was being babysit by a man that had been held civilly liable for raping a 7-year-old girl that he had babysit in the past, you would still let him continue to babysit your 7-year-old daughter.
Once again, you're
so
in civil
sick.
court.
Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. Are you real? Are you like a robot?
Are you real? Like,
I'm so real. Are you like a fake person? Are you rage baiting? Tell me that you're trolling.
No, not at all.
Oh my God, you are sick. Holy shit. Oh my God. So
I'm sick because okay, how many grape cases actually go to civil court?
How would I know?
Hardly any, because they get criminal court, not civil.
Okay, I'd say that like this offense can be taken to a civil or a criminal court. We would like it to see it executed in a criminal court. The reason this wasn't executed
Right,
in a
because it's
criminal
out of
court for
statute of
Trump
limitations.
was because it was out of the statute of limitations. But I just think it's sick that you'd say that you would let someone babysit your daughter even if they had been held civilly liable for raping
It's civil court.
a little girl just as old as your daughter. But I don't think you understand what that means. Like you're continuing to say, oh, it's civil court, but you don't really know what that means. Like, why don't you accept civil courts?
Because you don't need as much evidence in civil court.
Well, now what is the standard of evidence in this civil court?
I want to say you only need about like it's like 52%.
Christine, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love. So so the evidence that E. Jean Carroll submitted, to what standard do you think that proved Trump had raped her?
It wouldn't have proved it in a criminal court.
Why do you say that?
She would have took it to criminal court when it happened.
No, so like you can't say it couldn't have proved it in a criminal court, else she would have taken it to a criminal court. Keep it in mind the fact that the statute of limitations had passed. She couldn't, straight up, period. And then you're saying, well, if she could prove it in a criminal court, that she would have taken it to a criminal court after it happened. So the reason that argument is invalid is because it's literally blaming the victim. 62% of women that get raped never report it to the authorities in their lifetime. It's very typical for women to wait because of social pressures as perpetuated by rape culture because of people like you. Like she knew that she'd lose her job. She knew that she'd be demonized,
She'd lose her job. She just had a billionaire graper, and she's worried about losing her job.
Yeah,
she would have been worth a lot more money if she would have took that to criminal court. So don't give me that crap if she would have lost her job. I mean, look how much she's worth now.
Yeah, so she loved her job. She worked as a journalist, and I think that has to go. Like,
she wouldn't even have had to work another day in her life.
Yeah, but I still think like a social pressure of like losing your career insofar as what you love to do every single day of your life, not just to make money, but because you enjoy it, doesn't necessarily have to do with like the idea that, oh, well, she would be okay with losing her job. And then secondarily, making the accusation alone is like scary. And I think that she, as well as anyone, would definitely have the thought in the back of their mind, this man raped me, but what if the jury and the judge doesn't believe me? Then I'm going to lose my job for nothing.
I
think it's quite clear.
You wouldn't have to worry about that because you would have so much evidence to even worry about it.
No, she has to worry about that because of people like you. She has to worry about that because people are going so far to reject reality around them and contort it to bend at the knee for the tyrannical rapist because you will do nothing except act on irrationality, mob mentality, and political bias. And it's gross. She actually has to worry about people not believing her because you don't believe her. What's gross is platforming. One moment. What's gross is platforming a rapist into the highest ranking of power known to mankind. We are supposed to stigmatize rapists. We are supposed to socially scrutinize rapists, but instead you turn around and you say, this man isn't a rapist. Instead, I'm going to stigmatize the victim. What do you think that tells men? This tells men that they could go out, rape women, be held accountable for it in a court of law, still be accepted into the social circles around them, still have the same amount of societal opportunity that they had prior, and instead the woman that I raped, the woman that I harmed is going to get the brunt end because she's going to get demonized, she's going to get called a liar, and she's going to face the repercussions that I should have faced. That is going to cause more men to perpetuate more harm against women, and that is going to cause more harm, more of those women who had that harm perpetuated against them to stay silent about it.
You done?
Silenced or silent?
Are you done? Can I speak?
One sec, I gotta put the salt and the pepper on the filet mignon. Then I'll let it rest for a little bit. I'm done.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, but okay.
I finished cooking.
Cooking
I'm
what?
I'm putting the iron. I'm putting the skillet away. Putting the butter back in the fridge.
No idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was.
That's some woke term or something.
Yeah, cooking. Wait, one question. Define wokeness.
Is that a woke term?
Define wokeness. What is wokeness? What does it mean?
I'm just asking you. Is that a woke term?
No, cooking is not a woke term. Now define wokeness, please.
Cooking? Well, I don't see you cooking, so that's why I'm asking. Is it a woke term?
I mean, typically the ingredients don't know that they're getting sauced up. But anyways, could you
the
please tell me what
ingredients
you mean
don't
by
know
woke
they're
term?
getting sauced up?
Yeah. So, like, what is wokeness?
Is that
Tell me
another woke term?
Tell me what woke means. Can you define that term for me?
I'm still waiting on an answer.
Oh, no, the answer is no. Now, what is wokeness?
The answer is not. It's not a woke term. Then what is it? Just like some teenage term or what?
Is this
I'm
you
still
deflecting
trying to
because
figure
you
out
don't know
what
what
you just
wokeness
said
is?
right there.
You've been confused this entire time, bro. I don't think that you being confused now makes it like any more of an impertinent discussion to have. So now tell me, what do you mean by woke?
You are
So
the
when you say
definition
woke,
of
you just
woke.
mean Dean? Okay, and you're the definition of fucking idiotic.
Of what? Of idiotic, huh?
I mean, so you're saying that when
hang on,
when Kamala Harris,
Time out.
so when Kamala Harris said that we all need to be more
I
woke,
asked
she's just
you
saying that we all need to
if
be more like Dean.
what caused the prices to be going up, and you twisted that to grape. I've literally asked you about the prices going up.
Yeah, and I answered.
And why
I'll
things
answer
were
it
cheaper
again.
under. Hey, I'm still talking. Why things were cheaper under Trump, and why they're so expensive now, 4 years later after the pandemic, and you twisted that to grape.
So I would like to clarify. First, I did answer how things
You
became
didn't.
more expensive. Would you like me to answer it again? I will. How about I just go ahead and answer again? Perfect. So yeah,
Well,
the
let's just
reason
go
that
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So the reason that we saw like a high rate of inflation right at the beginning of Biden and Harris's term was the same reason that we saw a high rate of unemployment at the end of Trump's term. So a global pandemic can cause a multiplicity of things. One of the things that it caused is for like small businesses to shut down their operations, people to stay at home instead of going out and working. And another thing that it could cause or generate is less consumer spending. Okay, and when we see such a fast, sharp reduction in consumer spending, what will happen is a recession. But in order to prevent that recession, what you need to do is you need to stimulate the economy. When you are stimulating an economy, pumping trillions of dollars into it to promote consumer spending, which in turn will promote confidence in the markets. Thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate you so much for the love, Chad. What that will lead to is inflation. And this didn't just happen here in the U.S., but it happened at every single country in the world because every single country in the world wanted to avoid a recession. Meow, thank you so much for the galaxy. I really appreciate you for the love. Thank you so much. No, we didn't enter into a recession, right? And there's stimulus produced under Trump and there's stimulus produced under Biden, stimulus produced in every country around the world. So now that the stimulus has been produced to avoid a recession, now we need to see what countermeasures the administration took to avoid further inflation to bring the economy back down to a whole. And what they did was they passed a multiplicity of legislation that was, first of all, budget reducing, such as the Inflation Reduction Act, deficit reducing, such as the Inflation Reduction Act, and then other policy to further stimulate the market and decrease consumer confidence by making the low and the middle class better off. We could go over through those specific policies as well as you'd like. But what this led to was America having the quickest rebound from the inflation onset by the pandemic out of any other country in the G7, going from a 9% peak to a now 2.8% low since 2018 Trump era pre-pandemic. And the reason that you still see the prices of goods in the grocery store so high is because it's about the reduction of the rate of inflation. It's not about deflation, because deflation leads to recession, right? So we can't just reduce the price of goods at the grocery store unless the companies are price gouging. Then we can literally reduce the price, which was another proposed policy by Kamala Harris. So
where is this policy at so I can read it over?
Yeah, just look up Kamala Harris price gouging.
Give me a site so I can look it up.
You could choose like which site you want to read about it on. Just look up Kamala Harris policy price gouging. I don't think that she has her policies listed on her official website. So anyways, I just have a quick question. What is one policy that Trump influenced to get passed while he was president that you agreed with?
I like how I guess it wasn't a policy, but I like how he influenced the...
Hannah, thank you so much for the $10 on PayPal saying that this guy is TRAS. He's making me lose brain cells. Please dump him. I think that we should dump him soon, but I want to hear his answer to this question first. And Christine, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo as well. Thank you so much, Hannah and Christine. Y'all are awesome. So what's one policy that Trump influenced to get passed while he was president that you liked?
I like how he... a couple of them. So I like how it wasn't a policy, but I like how he influenced the Roe v. Wade, knocking it back to the states.
Oh, taking women's rights away wasn't a policy.
It wasn't taking any.
So what was a policy that he influenced to get passed that you agreed with?
You don't let me speak?
Not if you're not answering my question, bro.
I am. I was literally in the middle of answering your question.
Your answer to my question was not a policy.
I was in the middle of answering your question, and you talked over me.
Your answer to my question was not a policy. I asked for a policy.
Didn't I just say that?
Yeah, meaning you made it explicitly clear that you weren't answering my question.
You keep talking over me.
Give me a policy.
As Kamala Harris says, I am speaking.
And as Dean says, name a policy.
So, once again, it's not a policy, but I liked how he influenced the Roe v. Wade, knocking it back to the states. I liked his Remain in Mexico policy. It helped out the border as far as people coming across.
How much did it help out the border?
Okay. You going to let me speak?
How much did the Remain in Mexico policy?
So I like how it helped because while they were waiting on citizenship, they would remain where they were at instead of coming here before they were okay to come here.
Trump doesn't like the Remain in Mexico policy. He doesn't claim that it affected the border. If you look at the graph behind him at the rally that he got shot at, he claims that the quote-unquote Trump clampdown started when he enacted Title 42. Like the wall and the Remain in Mexico policy essentially had no impact on daily border crossings or encounters. And specifically, the Remain in Mexico policy only impacted about 1,000 people, right? And we only saw year-by-year increases on the border under his term until Title 42 is implemented. Right, then also specifically speaking, you said that you liked rescinding Roe v. Wade back down to the state. You think that's a right that states should have to delineate. Do you think that abortion is murder, sir?
Yes.
So you think that states should be able to legislate on the legality of murder?
I think as far as depending on what term they get it at, if there's a heartbeat, it's murder.
So we should send murder back to the states?
Yes. Keep it out of federal hands. Trump
Isn't this like a very similar argument to what the Confederacy made?
What they argue. Do tell.
That we should send the right to own slaves back down to the states.
Aren't we all?
No.
Sure feels like it. I pay a lot of money to work.
Oh, so you're telling me that there's no difference between you and an enslaved person in 1850?
They got paid, didn't they?
So you're telling me that there's no difference between you?
Did slaves get paid?
I just want to clarify. No.
I just want to clarify. Did slaves get paid?
The answer is no. The answer is no. So I want to clarify. There's no difference between you and an enslaved black person in 1850.
We're all slaves.
Well, if we're all slaves and the Civil War never ended slavery, do you think that the world would be better off if the Civil War never happened because it cost like hundreds of thousands of lives?
No, Civil War needed to happen.
Wait, why? Because it didn't have any effect. It didn't stop slavery.
No, because in a way, I mean, like I said, we're still all slaves.
Yeah, it didn't. So yeah, the Civil War was
we're still working.
Yeah, but
to pay the government.
You're just saying that, like, then therefore the Civil War like didn't really need to happen. If it had no effect and it only caused Americans to die,
we're a different kind of slave than what they were back then.
Oh, but you told me earlier that there's no difference between you and an enslaved.
I didn't say that.
1850. You did.
Did I?
Yes.
No.
You did.
No, that's you putting words in my mouth. I said
now you're going to get
we're all
fact checked by
slaves.
2.5 thousand people. Now you're going to get fact checked by 2.5 thousand people. That's why I love having these conversations in such a large conglomerate of people.
Yeah, in a
because you can't gaslight me
large
like that.
liberal space. Of course.
So are you now gaslighting me and 2.5 thousand other
You've
people?
been gaslighting me for the past 15 minutes, so don't even start that shit.
So you just admitted that you're trying to gaslight me?
I'm not gaslighting you.
Oh, now you're double gaslighting me because you're trying to gaslight me by saying that you're not gaslighting me. Do you want to triple gaslight me?
You sound like a woman right now. You literally sound like my ex-wife.
What does that mean to sound like a woman? What does that mean to sound like a woman?
You.
What do women sound like?
Right. Listen to yourself.
So I'm asking you.
I'm telling you, listen to yourself.
What do you mean when you say that I sound like a woman?
Listen to yourself.
Listen to myself. What about the way I speak makes me sound like a woman?
There you go. There's your answer.
What about the way I speak makes me sound like a woman?
You literally just answered your own question.
Please answer my question. What about the way I speak, quote unquote, makes me sound like a woman? What do women do that I am doing right now that makes you say I sound like a woman?
You're gaslighting. You're a narcissist.
Oh, women are narcissists, but then you turn around and you see men committing 95% of violent crimes. Women gaslight, but then you see men starting wars, genocides, committing mass majority of committing mass majority of self-unalivings, committing mass majority of.
There's a lot of women
because you're interrupting me. So women are the narcissists, but men commit the vast majority of violent crimes. Women are the gaslighters, but men disproportionately abuse hard drugs as a substance, as a form of an unhealthy coping mechanism to deal with unprocessed emotions, commit self-unalivings. Women are like emotionally adverse, but then men are much more likely to engage in irrationally adverse activities such as drunk driving, reckless driving, or gambling. Meanwhile, women are much likely to do much better in the context of school, K through upper education, getting better grades and better degrees. Women also have a higher IQ and EQ on average, and they're much more likely to do better in STEM-related fields. So honestly, sweet cheeks, Pookie Gumdrop, when you tell me I sound like a woman, I take it as a compliment. What do I want to sound like? One of those sick fucking pigs that starts every single war we've ever had, has committed 95% of the violent crimes, and degrades our society? Is that what I want to sound like? Oh, what do I have to start doing? Act like I don't care about anyone around me apart from myself? Act like I couldn't give a shit about anybody that has something different between their legs? Is that how I sound like a man?
Driving.
Or what do I have to do? Do I just have to decrease my IQ by about 3 points on average, act like I have no clue how to deal with my emotions, then go around and perpetuate prejudice and harm? Is that how I sound like a man? Is that how I do it? How do I sound like a man? Tell me. I want to be manly.
How about Tim Walls and that drunk driving?
I want to be manly.
You want to talk about drunk driving? How about Tim Walls and that drunk driving?
So you want to pivot away from the fact that you're getting dunked on because of your implicit misogyny?
You mentioned it.
Damn, that's right. Damn, that's right. That is a victory, ladies and gentlemen. That is a victory. You are done. You are absolutely pivoting because you are getting dunked on. Don't worry. I'll go ahead and entertain it for a second. Tim Walz got arrested for drunk driving, and Donald Trump committed 34 felonies, sexually abused a woman, sexualized little girls, and tried to overthrow our government. Which one are you taking, little bro?
Are we just forgetting about the whole Tim Walz DUI?
I just responded to it. You were just too slow at listening.
No, you kept muting me. I was trying to respond to you.
So not only did I respond to and destroy your misogyny,
you didn't destroy anything.
but I've also responded specifically
Let's talk about Tim Walz's DUI.
Yo, Carrie, thank you so much for the $100 on PayPal. I appreciate you for the love. Let's get some W's in the chat for Carrie for the $100 on PayPal, saying, Dean, you are an American treasure. I really appreciate you for the love, Carrie. That is absolutely so kind of you. Thank you so much for the love. And let's see here. Lauren with a $15 on Venmo, saying, W women. I want to see 1,000 W's in the chat specifically for Carrie for the $100 donation on PayPal. And let's get some W's in the chat for Lauren as well, saying W women. Thank y'all so much for the love. I'm roasting the fuck out of this guy.
No, you're not. let's talk about the Tim Walz DUI.
Cope. That is your imagination talking.
Let's talk about the Tim Walz DUI. You want to bring up all of Trump's cases? Let's bring up Tim Walz DUI. He got convicted.
Sure.
Right?
So if I respond specifically to Tim Walz DUI, will you respond to everything that I said dunking on your misogyny?
Are you going to respond to this or not?
If you can answer my question.
Are you going to respond to this?
Yeah, if you can answer my question.
You want to bring up Trump, so let's bring up Tim Walz. What about his DUI?
Are my ears or my words just going in one ear out the other?
You're not answering my question.
I told you I'd answer
my question.
If you can tell me.
Answer my question. It's not an if.
Oh my God.
That's not how debates work. I'll answer this.
This is what they do. Yeah. We could talk about Tim Walz DUI if it is the case you're willing to respond to me debunking your misogyny afterwards. Can you
tell me about Tim Walz's DUI?
If you could agree to that first.
Tell me about Tim Walz's DUI.
So you're not going to agree to it? Are you scared?
Are you scared to talk about Tim Walz's DUI?
No, I already have. You just literally didn't hear me. I'm telling you, I will talk to you about Tim Walz DUI if you specifically engage in a conversation with how I debunked your misogyny afterwards. Are you okay with doing that?
Sure.
Can we agree on that?
Let's go.
Yeah, Tim Walz DUI. I will absolutely take Tim Walz, who did drink and drive and then has spent the next 14 years of his life advocating against it, over the rapist felon wannabe dictator on day one that tried to stage a coup to overthrow our government and steal a federal election for Biden.
You're pivoting.
No, I'm not pivoting. I'm providing reason. It's comparative analysis. I don't like the fact that her VP has a DUI on his record, but at the end of the day, that's definitely preferable to the alternative.
So he could have done the ultimate of unaliving somebody, drinking and driving, and you're okay with that?
Yeah, it's definitely preferable to Trump.
What? You're okay with the possibility of him possibly unaliving someone from drinking and driving, Because Trump man bad.
Yeah, specifically because Trump denied black people housing opportunities in the 70s.
You're pivoting again.
No, it's a comparative analysis.
You're pivoting.
Can you define comparative analysis
You're
for me?
pivoting.
I'm giving you a comparative
You're pivoting.
analysis.
Stay on topic.
Dude, it's literally not a pivot. It's called a comparative analysis.
No, you're pivoting.
Tell me what a comparative analysis is.
You're pivoting.
Okay, so I've already explained to you how it's not.
You're literally bringing up we're talking about drinking and driving and how he could possibly unalive someone and do the ultimate thing of killing an innocent family, and you're pivoting to other crap.
Okay, so it's not a pivot. It's called a comparative analysis. Do you know what a comparative analysis is?
Do you know what a pivot is?
Yes, I do know what a pivot is. Do you know what a comparative?
Okay, so stop pivoting and stay on topic.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask you this one last time. If you do not respond to the question, I will kick you and move on.
Oh, you want to kick me because you're getting proved wrong. Where's your baby bottle? Put your baby bottle in.
So the reason I'm saying that I will kick you is because
put your baby bottle in.
So is your tactic to refuse to engage in a conversation with me, and then when I tell you the ultimatum of either engage in a conversation or get kicked, you say that I'm getting proven wrong?
I said we're talking about Tim Walz DUI, and you're wanting to pivot.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and respond to that one more time. Right, once again,
get your baby bottle.
A comparative analysis is not a pivot. A comparative analysis is merely when I'm saying at the end of the day, I'm going to be choosing one of the two candidacies.
Look at all them baby bottles for you.
You think those are for me?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're coming from all the women that you were misogynistic
to absolutely.
Earlier. And you think they're coming towards me?
Yeah, because you got to pivot. You can't talk about the DUI.
So was I just talking about
You know what?
DUI?
I bet I know what Tim Walz
Adam, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love.
The amount of beers like he misspoke when he said he went to war. I bet that's what happened.
Y'all, you know what this is giving me? Do y'all remember when like Charlie D'Amelio like went on Twitter and said that the Here for Charlie hashtag was for her and that she appreciated everyone's love? That's kind of what this is giving.
You're literally going laughing.
That's what that shit's giving, bro. Yeah, dude, I've literally been doing this for so long. Of course he's like trying to frustrate me, but I do this for 6 hours a day, bro. It's not gonna work.
Oh, I do too.
But yo, Aubrey, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love. Aubrey says dominating the misogynist. Let's get some W's in the chat for Aubrey. Thank you so much for the $20. Dustin, thank you for the Tom's hugging Casey. Thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo, saying this guest is insufferable. I don't know how you do it, Dean. I've just gotten good at it, Casey. It's my thing. It's my thing. But let's go and talk about Tim Walz DUI. Then, of course, I want to talk about how I debunked you on your misogyny. So, yeah, when we're referencing Tim Walz DUI, he did drink and drive 14 years ago. And while he was drinking and driving, he got arrested, said that he was deaf, so he couldn't respond to the cops, and inevitably got arrested and charged with a misdemeanor. And then he spent the next 14 years of his life traveling around the nation and advocating for an end on drunk driving, and advocated strongly against it. And he's done a lot of good. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm going to pick Kamala Harris with the VP that is drunk driven in the past over like Donald Trump. There's no comparison to be made here. Donald Trump tried to overthrow our federal government. Donald Trump has raped a woman. Donald Trump has sexualized little girls. Donald Trump has boasted about grabbing women by the P word. Donald Trump has went on Sirius XM with Howard Stern and specifically said that he likes to walk into the changing rooms of half-naked teenage girls. Donald Trump committed 34 felonies. Donald Trump scammed people through Trump University. Donald Trump is a fraudster. Donald Trump is a racist. There's no comparison, man. There truly isn't. Tim Walz was a good family guy who made a mistake in his past and has been advocating for others to not make that same mistake for the last 14 years. Dean Dunked. Like, it's so easy, chat.
Ready now? You're gonna
Christina, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo, saying that this guest is why women cover their drinks. Absolutely. W's for Christina in the chat. Let's go. Thank you for the love. Dean Dunked.
So, he blames it because he couldn't hear. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, which was a lie. He lied to the cops?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lied to the cops.
Phenomenal.
What makes you think he's going to tell the truth to you if he's going to lie under pressure?
Oh, so lying under pressure means that he's not going to tell the truth to you. So when Donald Trump told over 30,000 confirmed lies during his presidency, and the biggest lie that any sitting president has ever told with his denial of the outcome of the 2020 election, this is obviously going to lead you to the conclusion that you don't think he's going to be honest with you, right?
You're pivoting again.
No, it's not a pivot.
What makes you think that he's going to tell you the truth under pressure? if he can't even tell the cops the truth?
So the reason that this isn't a pivot is because we have never had anyone run for the presidency or be president that has lied more than Trump.
You're missing. You keep bringing up Trump. We're talking about Tim Walz.
Okay, I'll answer your question. Yeah, I think that like lying under pressure, telling the cops that you're deaf when they're not would be significant and would like indicate to someone, well, I don't know if this individual has good moral virtues. I don't know if they're a good person. I don't know if they're willing to lie or not lie under pressure. But I think after 14 years of advocacy against what he did, recognizing that it was wrong and moving on, I think that I can now accept Tim Walz and I can trust him pretty good. He seems like a good family guy. But now when we're talking about Trump, where's Trump's like advocacy and apology for the 30,000 lies he told during his presidency, including his denial of the outcome of the 2020 election? It's not there. In fact, he tells the same lies to today. So does this make you not trust Trump?
The lies that you're talking about, how did 30,000 is what you said?
Yeah, with the biggest lie being his denial of the 2020 election, being the most significant as well, because
is that what we're qualifying as lies?
Yes, denying the outcome of the 2020 election, saying that he won when Biden won, was a lie.
He questioned the election, as every candidate has the right to do.
Did he question it or deny it? And still deny it to this day, even though 63 courts that he's handpicked have disproven it?
He questioned the election just as every candidate is allowed to do.
Okay, so does he recognize that he lost the 2020 election, sir?
Yeah.
Could you give me a clip of him recognizing that he lost the 2020 election, sir?
He talks about it all the time.
Okay, then it should be pretty easy to find a source, right?
Yeah, sure is.
He doesn't. That's a thing. He doesn't. In fact, his son, Don Jr., said at the RNC a month ago that Donald Trump had won the 2020 election and that it was stolen from him by Biden.
Okay, well, let's talk about election then. Tell me how Joe Biden is off the ballot whenever there's states that's refusing to take RFK off the ballot.
Yeah, so I am down to pivot after you respond to my last question.
That's not pivoting. We're talking about the election now and lies.
We're talking about how Trump lied about the outcome of the 2020 election. We could talk about like the ballot taking RFK off or refusing to do so, but taking Joe Biden off. We could talk about that next. But like specifically right now, we're going to be talking about like the idea that Trump lied about the outcome of the 2020 election. In fact, he tried to rig it and steal it from Biden by sending fake slates of electorates to 7 different states to cast fake Trump votes to the Electoral College from states that he lost. He literally tried to rig and steal the election from Biden. He tried to install himself in for a second presidential term, even though he lost. And he wanted to ignore the voice and the vote of every single American citizen that voted in 2020, launching the biggest internal attack on our democracy and on our government as a whole since the Civil War. Do you agree with that?
You think that was the biggest attack since the Civil War?
Yes.
Because a few people assaulted some people?
No, because he tried to steal the election from Biden. He tried to install himself for a second presidential term with
so you
Trump
compare that to the Civil War, where there was many lives lost?
That is the biggest internal attack on the government since the Civil War.
You just said it was bigger than the Civil War.
No. I did not. I said it's the biggest internal attack on our government since the Civil War.
No. That's not what you said.
Okay, I mean, it is, but just for like all intents and purposes, if I said something else, that's what I meant to say. So This is the biggest internal attack on our government since the Civil War.
Okay. To me, no, that's not. Because a presidential candidate has every right to question it, and he took it to court. Courts proved him like, no, that there was a few fake votes that shouldn't have been there, right? They did prove that, correct?
Yeah, so what I'm implying that Trump did, he didn't question the outcome of the election. He tried to steal the election from Biden.
Okay. I don't see how he did that, but...
I'll tell you, by sending several different fake slates of electors to 7 different states that he lost, then he had to make fraudulent certificates of ascertainment, which is the certificate that's sent to Congress by the states to be counted on January 6th to certify the next president.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I can't even talk about it.
He wanted Mike Pence to certify them as real.
I can't even talk about that because I don't know what happened behind the scenes. All I seen is what happened on January 6th.
Yeah, so I mean, so Trump is. I can tell you what happened
at the White House. I'm not saying.
I can tell you what happened behind the scenes.
Good.
So Trump on the January 6th indictments, as well as to the Supreme Court, has admitted and argued that these are things that he has done, but he should be immune from repercussions because of presidential immunity. Him and his legal team is considering them an official act of his presidency. They've admitted it to seek immunity.
What was the official act of his presidency?
Trying to steal the election for Biden.
Like I said, I'm not even going to speak on that because I don't know the details of what happened behind the scenes. Like I said, the only thing I can speak on the January 6th.
What more details would you like? I gave you the details.
Like I said, I can't speak on it. I can't even debate you about it because I don't know the details about it.
I just gave you the details, though.
Okay, well, I can't even debate it because I don't know the details about it.
You do know the details because I just gave them to you.
Okay.
So now that you know the details, right, why would you vote for someone that's attempted to overthrow our government and steal an election?
Because I think he's a better candidate than Kamala.
Okay, so the rapist, felon,
lived
fraudster,
better
misogynist,
under
racist
Trump than
that
what
has
I
tried to
did
steal an
under
election,
Kamala.
that has tried to overthrow our government and rig an election is better than Kamala Harris. What's one policy that Biden and Harris passed that made your life worse?
Whatever they did to make everything go.
Wow, he was moved because of the community guidelines. That went on for a little bit too long, but he is gone now, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely fantastic that he's gone. That is so great. Phenomenal. We're going to move on to our next guest here, chat. Let's go and get our next guest up in the box. I remember you. You were on my live yesterday on my main account when I got taken down, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's a little funny how that worked out. You shut me off like right when I was in the middle of a topic, but that's all right. Did you want to continue?
TikTok shut us both off. My account got banned.
Your account got banned?
Yeah. Like if you
well,
like
my
click
apologies then.
If you click on my profile picture, if you click on my profile picture right now, you'll see that I'm not on the same account I debated you on yesterday because that account got banned for a day.
Oh, okay. Well, my apologies then. Would you like to continue?
Yeah. So yesterday you were making the argument that denying a black person an opportunity because he's black is not racist.
Well, okay. So that's a little disingenuous. So what actually happened? What did you claim?
That is what happened, right? Like you said,
no, actually,
particularly
it's not
speaking, that Trump saying that Barack Obama shouldn't be able to run for president because obviously he was born in Kenya, which means he's obviously not a born U.S. citizen, shouldn't be able to run for president. Denying an opportunity or attempting to deny an opportunity of employment to a black person because they're black, saying that they're not qualified because obviously they're not a natural born U.S. citizen. Do you see the issue with that?
Okay. So actually what happened is I asked you for proof of Trump being racist, to which you said he denied that Obama was born in the U.S., said that he was born in Kenya, and somehow that automatically equates to he can't be president because he's black, of which I denied that by saying that he supported Jesse Jackson's campaign back in the 80s. But okay, I'll go a step further. So you said, why would he say Obama was born in Kenya? Well, I mean, his father was born in Kenya, so it's not that big of a stretch to assume that he was born in Kenya. And also, I pointed out that Hillary Clinton's movement, not Hillary Clinton herself, but her movement
started it. What you're actually right about. I can confirm that's a fact.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So I guess I'm just trying to ascertain how you go from him.
Is it a stretch for me to say that Trump was born in Scotland because his mother was a Scottish immigrant?
That is not the same thing at all. If this man's father...
What's the difference?
It's a huge difference just because he has...
The difference is the country and if it's the father and the mother.
No, it absolutely is not. The difference is you're going back generations. I'm saying Obama's father...
That's Trump's mother. His mother was a Scottish immigrant.
But that's not what you said. You said his mother had Scottish lineage. That's not the same thing. What I'm saying...
No, I said his mother's a Scottish immigrant. You could fact check me.
Okay, well, either way, that's not what I'm talking about.
So is it a stretch for me to say that that Trump shouldn't be able to run for president because he was born in Scotland?
No, what I'm saying is if there was any sort of doubt at all that Obama was not born in the U.S., of which I'm not saying that he wasn't, he clearly was. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is there was doubt, and it's not a huge stretch given that Obama's father and some of his family are from Kenya.
Okay, so is it a stretch for me to say that...
his father was a governmental economist.
Is it a stretch for me to say that Trump was born in Scotland?
You know what? If that's the hill you want to die on, go for it. But you have to also...
Is that a stretch?
Is it a stretch?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Even though he has a birth certificate in New York. Is that a stretch?
You know what? Fine. Nope, not a stretch at all.
You're so fucking disingenuous. You just got shot on.
No, I really didn't, because what I'm trying to point out to you...
Dude, that was so fucking easy. I used like a good sixth of my brain there. I literally used like a sixth of my brain power. Oh my god. I'm over here eating like sugar babies. Just like destroying. This is great. What's up? Are you voting for Trump?
Yep. Well, more the Republican Party, but yeah, I am voting for the Republican Party. Yep.
So if Harris was running as a Republican and Trump was running as a Democrat, who do you vote for?
Well, I'd obviously vote for the Republican side, and my reasoning is based on their policies, right? So
I can't hear you. If you can't see I can't hear you. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, take it away. He's doing it again. Y'all's Parker live? If he is, maybe we just send him a raid and co-host for a little bit, maybe about 2 hours here. Also, if you want to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal are in my bio. I get 100% of the proceeds on those platforms in comparison to about 30% here on TikTok. If you donate to me on PayPal and Venmo, I win very bigly. Very bigly I win. I bigly win another 66% of the proceeds. $1 on TikTok goes $3 on Venmo and PayPal. $3 is the equivalent. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go ahead and head over to Parker's stream. We're just going to crash that shit, send him a raid, and try to co-host. So for everybody in the live, head over to Parker. That is at Parker Get a Job. We're going to pop up there and co-host for a little bit. We're having fun. We're having fun today. At Parker Get a Job, spam Dean Raid in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and hop up there as a guest. We're going to have so much fun. We're going to win bigly all night long. Head over to at Parker Get a Job. I will see y'all there. Love you all so very much. See you on at Parker Get a Job.